Good morning, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, phew. How you doing, everybody?
Good.
Awesome. I'm just going to work on getting the presentation set up. All right, since you guys are on first, can you see that presentation on your screen? Okay.
Susan, if you want to make me co-host, so I can check IDs at the door.
Good morning. And yes, how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
There you go.
Perfect.
Awesome. And let me see, 9 o'clock on the dot. Perfect. I hope everyone has some caffeine and is ready to get going for a really fun morning. Okay, Tim, I think we might as well just get going, or should we give it a little bit more time?
Well, I think everybody needs to know who you are.
Okay.
And then I'll explain who I am, and then I'll brag about you a little bit more. Then we can get started. And by then, people will take their seats and be caffeinated, sort of, at that point.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you guys all for coming. My name is Susan Kenyon. I'm with the Market Center up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the 463 Market Center. And I am going to be guiding you guys through the beginning of Ignite today. I'm super excited about that. I am an agent licensed in New Hampshire and Maine. I come from the point of view of production. So I always love coming here and talking to folks that are getting started from the perspective of production, because that's really what it's all about, and probably why we've all gotten into real estate. My husband and I run a small team up here in New Hampshire. I'm an ALC member and have been licensed since, let me see, 2013. So I'm getting up there. My husband actually joined Keller Williams and got his license first in 2009. And then I joined him later once we could make that full family dip into 100% commission world. And there's been no looking back for me ever since. I love real estate. I love helping buyers and sellers. So we're going to talk a lot about that today, on how we actually can get started and get you guys into production. And I'm happy to be here with Tim Lindsay, who's our fantastic productivity coach up here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, good morning, guys. My name's Tim. Timothy Lindsay. I'm with 463 as well. We're in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We have agents that serve also in Massachusetts. We don't have any brick and mortar down there, but we have offices throughout New Hampshire and Southern Maine as well. This is my 9,000th Ignite as both an attendee and a student and a teacher. And Gary says it all the time. If you're just getting started, you're in the right place. If you've been here for 10 years, you're still in the right place, because Gary's intention is that you're either student or teaching or both in this session. If you have 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months, this is the place for you. And the region has decided to drop it between 9 and 11, because what should your face be doing between 9 and 11? That's right. Lead generation. So a class about lead generation during lead generation. Say that slowly and write it down, right? So that's why we're here. We're going to talk about the 10-4 and the importance of that. And you guys are in superb hands. One of our absolute best agents, cappers, ALC members, and teachers, Susan Kenyon. She's going to be with you today, along with myself. We'll be back on the 14th. I don't know what number session that is, but we promise we'll be here. And we're back here also on September 22nd. So I know these are being recorded. I know they'll be on the New England YouTube page. And I invite you to run your life as you see fit. If you need to leave, you can come back and get the other content later. I'm telling you this because I've seen it happen. People are like, oh, you know what? I'm probably going to head out and I'm going to watch this at 10:15 tonight. No, you're not. I mean, I said with love, you're probably not, right? So, I mean, if you can be here in real time and engage with the rest of the people in the room in real time, I think there's the most meat on that bone. So please stay put. If you have not scheduled your face and yourself to be in this room for 2 hours or 3 hours every weekday through the end of September, go in and block out that calendar and pour into this. Do your 10-4 every day. We'll explain that a little bit more in a few minutes. You will absolutely benefit from this class. Your activities today are November 30th results right now. We're 90 days out. So we're about 2 weeks away from gathering wood for next year's fire. And that's the mentality we need to have every day when we do this. Okay. So welcome. And we're pleased you're here and we're happy to help. And if you need anything, just jump into the chat or raise your hand.
Absolutely. And, you know, I definitely want to start off with, I appreciate all the videos, all the cameras on. Please feel free to unmute yourself and just jump right in with any questions that come up during the day. And also any, any thoughts, questions, something funny to tell to break it up, or if you need something specific from me. I love to be interrupted. This is really meant to be an interactive session, and how we participate here is how we participate everywhere. So this is meant to be interactive. So jump right in and let's get going. If you can also, I think, press the space bar if you need to unmute yourself to ask a question.
And Susan, I just dropped in the script books for both Spark and Elementals, the two different sessions. They're two 9 session segments that make the whole class, 18 sessions overall. So script books for both Elementals and Spark are in the chat right now. If you're not seeing them, it's because you're on your phone or a tablet that isn't wicked smart. So that's why we tell you to be on a computer so you can gather all that intel. I'm also going to drop in the workbook for today. We'll drop in the workbooks on a regular basis every day, so you have that stuff as well. By all means, flip through the workbook. Don't get distracted. You can watch the screen. You can listen to Susan and engage with one another. I think you'll be in good hands at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And, first off, congratulations. Congratulations for being here this morning, and congratulations for getting your license. That's no easy feat, right? That's a lot of work just to get through the classes, take the tests, get your license. And then congratulations for joining an awesome company. I'm here because I've actually only ever been with Keller Williams. I get calls frequently from other brokerages to speak with me about jumping and moving to someplace else. And that's just not in the cards for me. This is a really fantastic company that puts a lot of time and energy and care into its agents, and creating content like this so that you have a place to jumpstart your career in real estate in. So great job in picking a fantastic company in the industry. And, today we're going to talk about, why you're here, the activities that we need to do to be successful in real estate. Because, really at the end of the day, we're all small business owners. We've chosen to start a career in real estate, but it is like owning your own small business. And what we choose to do with that business is an individual choice. You can make it small or you can make it very, very big. And what we love about Ignite is that Ignite was developed by Keller Williams going out and speaking to their top agents and asking them, what do you do to be successful? And so we're going to do what they do. We don't need to recreate the wheel, but Keller Williams put it all in a nice package called Ignite. So we're going to start that today and talk about, what to do to be successful. How big do you want your business to be? How many people do you want to help? How do you create that value proposition? That's going to be really big as we move through Ignite. And part of that all starts with why? Why are we here? Why did you choose real estate? Is it because, a lot of times people will come to me and say, I think I'm going to get my license because I going houses. That's just a small, tiny part of it. What I really love about real estate is that we get to help people. And I hijacked one of Tim's, I've heard Tim say it, and I've hijacked it ever since, that we're in the relationship business until somebody has a real estate need. And I love that because that's my why. I love to be in relationship with people. Our motto with the team that I run is relationship, service, results, because that's where it all starts. It starts with a relationship. So what is your big why? Why did you want to become a real estate agent? Does anybody have anything that they want to share? Is there any big whys out there or reasons why you guys want to jump into this crazy business?
Hi, this is Valerie. I'm from Rhode Island. Good
Hi,
morning.
Valerie. Hi. So happy you're here.
Me too. So my big why is I've been a practicing attorney for a number of years, and I've always wanted to have my own business, but also I've always had an interest in real estate. And for me, I just had a moment where I realized I want to get the full return on the investment I'm putting into my work. and keep the lion's share as opposed to giving it to a partner, a law
Right.
firm, you know, so that they can live their dream life. Meanwhile, I continue to struggle. So that was that. And also, you know, being able to use my skills and realizing that, you know, I can really help people in the real estate realm as well. So.
Absolutely. And you know, I appreciate your transparency, Valerie, because you know what? There's a lot of money to be made in real estate if you work your business correctly. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with getting your fair share of that for sure. And it is really rewarding to help people. But I'm like you. I am money motivated. My husband and I joke about that all the time, because that is part of my motivation as well. So thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
Actually, I have a couple. My name is Charles Chauvin. Hi, everybody. I am also in Rhode Island. I think the same office as Valerie. So hi, Valerie. Um, so I have a couple of big whys. I was in nursing home administration for 21 years of my life, and most of the reason why I am a human being, is to give back to other people and to take care of other people. So I've always taken care of everybody else except for myself. But that's, you know, this is the year that that's going to change. And that's why I got into real estate, was to continue my work in helping other people and do it the right way. As I'm noticing with many of the real estate agents out there, they're not trained in the right way. And that's why I'm also happy to be with Keller Williams, because it seems to be the right way to be trained. So I'm grateful for these, and look forward to getting to know all of you.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And this is your time. So great job for joining Keller Williams if you really are looking for training, because they just provide so much training, and having an open mind. And one of the things as we get started in real estate is, you know, we can have these limiting beliefs, where a limiting belief is, you know, you looking at things as if you can't do something when really you can. So what's in your mind that could be a limiting belief? Like, why would someone want to work with me? I'm a new agent. You know, that's a limiting belief. Why wouldn't they want to work with you? You're here to help them and you're getting trained. And you know what? You have nothing but time to give them right now. Sometimes the way we look at things will determine what our outcome is. So if we change the way that we look at them, then what we're looking at will change too.
Susan, Valerie made a great point too about, and not that she's actually said like a limiting belief, but she made the point about getting her fair share. And Jason Abrams during Mega Camp talked about the unfair share. And when you hear her say this all the time, and it sounds disingenuous when we say it, because like, what are they talking about? That doesn't sound like KW culture. If you look at your MLS, because the limiting belief everybody tells themselves every morning after they finish their pancakes and the price is right is like, well, I can make some phone calls, but I feel like there's no listings available in America, right? Check your local LMS. Things are getting listed today. Check tomorrow. They got listed today. Check the day after that. They got listed the next day. So going out and getting our unfair share is about us making sure that we're connecting with our people. Like Susan had said before, you know, all they have until they meet us is our reputation, until we're in relationship with them. And then once we're in relationship with them, we have to politely just be in their life until they become transactional, right? And you see these t-shirts all the time. I think Gary had it on the other day too. Real estate's a contact sport. You don't have to punch them, but you have to stay in touch, right? Some of your clients you're going to want to punch. We can talk through that when the time comes. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, you just want to make sure you're staying in contact, because if we can get you to the point where real estate is the background music, and you're just showing up with your head down, your heart up, service first, sales second. And then when they are transactional, they know that you're their person. You're going to win. It's going to come to you. You don't have to push anymore. And that's what most of you came here for. You want to control your checkbook and your calendar, and you want to enjoy what you're doing by playing in your genius zone. And if we can help you find what that corner of the sandbox is, all the better, right?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And there is so much business out there. And it is truly a limiting belief to say that there isn't enough listings out there, that it's impossible to get a buyer under contract, because properties are closing every day. And that means there are buyers getting under contract every day. That means there are properties getting listed every day. Sometimes it means that we have to work a little bit harder to find them, but that's our job. And, the activities that we undertake on a daily business ultimately write the script for your life and for your business. So what are the activities and when do we do them? That's what we're going to dive into today. And I'm dual screening, so I'm going to be head bobbing a little bit back and forth today. But
well, and to clarify too, Susan, don't forget when we talk about there are no listings, there's a ton of listings out there. They're at the end of every driveway. They're just not listed yet. That's where we come in, right? If you've ever worked in a supermarket, who's ever worked at like Market Bucket or Hannah Foods, right? If you ever worked there before you close the doors at night, somebody or a bunch of you were in the aisles facing the shelves, pulling the product to the edge of the shelf so the consumer going by can see they are still there. So we have to do that. We have to drag these houses from their yards to the end of the driveway and put a for sale sign on them. That's our job, right? So the listings are out there. They're just not listed yet. And that's where we come in. Never forget that.
Absolutely. And, when we were talking about Ignite, to how to get us started, the successful agents have always been able to find those listings. They've always been able to talk to people and to be at kitchen tables and get those contracts signed. So we're going to do what they did to get to be successful. And what I love about this slide is notice it says what successful agents do every day. So this is not ever going to go away. This is what we still do no matter how long you're in the business, whether you've just gotten your license or you've been in it since 2013 or that you've been in it for 30 years. Every single day, we have to work on growing our business. And we start on the left side of this slide because if we don't ever grow our business, we don't get the privilege of running our business. And growing your business starts with lead generation. If you never lead generate, you never get to move over to the running your part of your business because you won't have any business to run. So it's all about the lead. The lead is the most important part of our business, really. And for the record, if we all like going into houses and we like projects or watching I don't even watch HGTV anymore because I can't stand that. I have enough real estate all day long, but the flipping houses and all that stuff, that's not our job. Our job is sales. We are salespeople. So if you're coming into real estate thinking it's not a sales job, I'm going to burst your bubble a little bit right from the beginning. This is a sales job. So we have to have a salesperson hat on every single day. And we do that when we're lead generating, where we're looking for buyers and we're looking for sellers. And we're doing that by communicating with them. And some people kind of get a little bit intimidated by the word lead generation, but lead generation is really about caring about people. When we lead generate, we look to find ways to, how are we going to improve people's lives? How are we going to help them? Am I helping somebody into a great situation? Am I helping them out of a bad situation? Either way, lead generation is all about helping people. This business, we'll talk more and more about it. It is about relationships, just like Keller Williams is about relationships with its market centers. Our market center is in relationship with its agents. And we agents, we're in relationship with our people, our spheres of influence, our customers, our clients. So this is all about lead generation. If you don't care about people, this is going to be a really hard business because helping people is part of how we lead generate. We find out what their needs are. And then we help be a solution-oriented person to help them solve those problems that they're having or find out what their motivations are. How can we help them? So the person
such a great point about leads too, Susan, right? If we always joke at our market center, if you don't have an active signed buyer or an active listing or something under contract, you're near real estate. You're not in it yet, right? And for those of us who are like, oh, well, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a realtor. Well, you don't have any clients yet. So you're currently just here, which is cool. But we have to have the conversations to make sure that we get somebody signed into a buyer's agency agreement or a listing agreement or a lease or under contract with a purchase and sale. And until then, I said with love, we're near real estate. We're not quite in it yet. So the grind is making sure that you're having the conversations. And to Susan's point too, you can be a transactional realtor. We've got a bunch of them. And you'll identify them over time and you'll realize that they're just not quite as fulfilled and no judgment. They're just, I know people that are playing the Simon Sinek long game of the infinite game. And they're in the relationship business that haphazardly has transactions along the way on a regular basis because they're in relationship with a lot of people, right? So the amount of humans in your database and your ability to communicate with them on a consistent basis with the information they're looking for and the medium of their choice is going to be who wins. So you can do transactional real estate. It's just going to feel like a grind. It'll feel like the job you left at Liberty Mutual. And you're like, why did I do this? Right. Well, you're handing in TPS reports on Friday again. You're doing it wrong if you're doing that here, said with love. So we're going to help you find your genius zone so you can play in your space and the industry will come to you.
Absolutely. And, you know, I do sometimes, I'm going to be very direct today when I say things. I am saying them with love because I know that all of you are going to be successful. And I want to help provide you with as many tools as I can to help get you there and help get you there faster. Because you know what's super fun? Getting paid at the closing table and earning commission and bringing that home to your family. And I appreciate Sarah wrote in the chat, my why is to create financial freedom so I can grow my family and leave a legacy, something my family can be proud of since I was raised in the foster system. Life set me up for failure in the beginning, and I have the opportunity to turn that around completely. And I love that you shared that, Sarah. Thank you so much, because you have an opportunity to leave a legacy to your family in the real estate business. And you can turn that around. There's, part of what we love about Keller Williams is this culture of caring, and being in relationship, and relationships equal talking to people. Your people have to know what you do in order for you to help them with real estate. So lead generation is part of that, is letting your people know that you're in the real estate business, letting them know how you can help them. So we have to be public about that. And it's our job to always be reminding them that we're in real estate, that we're there to help, digging and finding out what their needs are. And there's going to be a lot of sessions in Ignite that will help you do that and help you have those conversations and help teach you how to make sure that you're not a secret agent. If nobody knows that you're in this business, you're never going to get any business. So we have to be able to promote ourselves, and we do that through lead generating for buyers and sellers.
But Susan, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to come across as pushy. I don't like money. I like cats and naps. Like, cool. And again, what you're going to hear us say salesy and money. We're talking about profitability, right? That is the end game, right? Everybody left their loved ones. And I know a lot of you are home, but if you're leaving your house every day to drive down the driveway, to hit the road, to drive to an office, you're deciding to do that. In most industries, we're leaving to go to an office to trade our time for our money. And we can be highly efficient in this space. You have the luxury of doing this from your home. And if we're purposeful about our lead generation and getting into relationship with people at a real high level, so that when they become transactional, we're the obvious choice, you can make exponentially more money, right? Your loved ones, when Susan and John get home, they're short people who are all taller than, by the way.
Yes,
you're short people. When you get home, they want two streams of revenue. They want your time and your money. And depending on the age, like my kids are 15 and 16, they just want my money. That's it. ATM stands for all Tim's money, right? And that's fine. But I also, when we have time with our loved ones, do we have the money to do what we want to do, right? It creates more opportunity. So you'll hear me use the O word in relation to the M word. Are we creating opportunity for our families?
Yep, we need to be doing that. This job does take a lot out of us. It is a time-consuming job. So, the growing your business part of knowing that you have this roadmap right here of what we need to do is meant to keep you on track, because there's so many distractions. Like, I need to create a pamphlet. I need to have my website done. I need to have a listing presentation done. I need to have a buyer presentation done. What you really need to do is just start. And start with lead generation, start with making seller presentations and buyer presentations. And you know what? They don't have to be fancy. You just have to start by talking to sellers about why they want to sell and how you can help them. That's a seller presentation. That's a listing presentation. Meeting and talking to a buyer about their wants, their needs, their financing, all of that kind of stuff without any paper in front of you, that's still a buyer presentation. So learning your job and learning what it takes to buy, sell, talk to people, those are the pieces that you need to start your presentations. The rest will come. Schedule that in for at the nighttime. But lead generation, getting your buyers and seller presentations, that's the beginning of your day every single day.
Susan, great point too. Have you ever seen a perfect listing presentation? Have you seen a perfect business card, a perfect sign, a perfect website? It does not exist. That unicorn died in the fire, right? We get into this analysis paralysis like, oh, my website's not perfect yet. It's never going to be. Never, right? And to your point, Susan makes a great point. My 3 bullet points on my grave that's probably coming in the next 10 minutes, like absolutely ask great questions, take great notes, have honest conversations. And like Susan said, what if you just sat with somebody and just asked them about their real estate goals? There's no pie charts, there's no bar graphs, just questions. People always say to me, what's a great question? The next one. Our job is to peel the onion, to eliminate that stack of circumstances they have in their head that is telling them they can't make the next move toward their real estate goals. It's not about selling something to somebody today. It's about helping them define success for them and their loved ones. Asking more questions.
Absolutely. And a lot of that, it's not as hard as that limiting belief, like it's so hard. I have to have it perfect in my head. I have to be able to say it perfect and recite it perfectly. That's a limiting belief. Because you know what? People do business with people they like. So there's a lot of people in your spheres of influence, people that you already know that like you, they will want to do business with you. The other thing that we have to do when we're growing our business is we have to get out there and preview real estate. We have to be getting into property and looking at them from the perspective of a buyer or a seller. Not, when we go out, for example, with buyers, they're looking at the kitchen. They're looking to, is it granite? Is my sofa going to fit in the living room? Is my king size bed going to fit in that tiny room? We're looking at real estate differently when we're showing them houses. We're looking at, is there deferred maintenance? Am I seeing any stains on the ceilings as I'm walking around and they're looking at the countertops? I'm looking and opening cabinets and running water. Is there any plumbing dripping anywhere? What kind of heating system? Can I identify that by looking at the house, whether it's a forced hot air or a forced hot water? Is there any opportunity for central air? Because I know that's really important to my buyer. I've already learned about my buyer. Like, they told me they want A, B, C, and D, and this house only has A, but they love the countertops. What's going to happen about B, C, and D? Did your needs change? Do I need to reel them in and bring them back? Do I need to show them the opportunities that might not be apparent in that piece of real estate? So we're able to do that and really help people when we preview real estate and learn about real estate. Maybe it's about going through a property and, learning how to look and preview real estate from the perspective of, you're going to help a seller. What do I need to recommend to them when they ask me to go through their house and they say, how do I get this ready to sell? So I preview real estate, you preview real estate, so that we know what is in our market, what this person's seller's competition is going to be like. How can we advise them to have some curb appeal? Maybe there's no time for them to do anything. And, price is going to be something that we talk about. Maybe we're just going to price that home to sell today because they have no time to do anything and they have got to sell quickly. We'll know the answers to all these questions when we take the time to be in relationship, when we care, when we preview real estate and we know how to help them. We're showing them our expertise. So right now, you guys, every week, you need to be finding ways to preview real estate. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to preview real estate this week? Open houses? Anybody?
I think I missed what you were at. When you say preview, is this for lead generation?
So the 4 things that we need to do to grow our business is we need to lead generate. We need to talk to buyers and sellers and make presentations to them. And we need to preview real estate. So those are things that we do to grow our business. So previewing real estate is not to lead generate, it's to learn your craft. It's to start getting to know your market, what's out there. you need to start previewing real estate so that when you are working with buyers and sellers, you know what you're looking at. You can identify things in a property. Start previewing real estate so that when they say, oh, how many, what are the other houses on the market like? Have I seen any of them? You can say, yes, I have.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
And that became a challenge, obviously, in the last 18 months with COVID and the way we were doing open houses differently. So even if you're digitally previewing, so when we get to the point, and Susan's going to talk about this in a second, the 10-4, your 10-4 every day is have 10 conversations, add those people after a permission-based conversation. What I mean by permission-based is, obviously, I'm friends with the Kenyans. Let's assume they work in a different industry. When I finally connect with them, and well, you've known them for a long time, why are you just having this conversation now? Welcome to real estate, right? When I finally break down that fourth wall and I decide to connect with them as a business person, hey, John, hey, Susan, hey, listen, moving forward, I'd love to share with you some of my insights that I'm getting from my updates as a real estate agent. And I know that you guys were talking about, buying your vacation home. So what could I share with you that would be beneficial for you? I'm getting permission from them to stay in relationship with them in a business conversation. And doing that after having the conversation, adding them to command, so I can eventually put them on the smart plan they sort of asked for, right? That I helped them decide they wanted, worded carefully, of course. Then I'm going to write 10 handwritten notes that day, thanking the 10 people that I spoke with for their time on the phone and reminding them that, information is on the way. And then those are all daily things like Susan talked about. So the 10-4 you hear about in Ignite, those are the 3 daily 10s. Contact, have a conversation, add them to the database, and write the handwritten note. Then 10 homes a week we should be previewing. So you can do that physically right now, depending on your marketplace, if you can go in and actually see homes, or you can at least get to know them online by previewing 10 properties. To Susan's point, when your client calls you and they're like, we want to go see 123 Main Street, but I know John is also going VA because he's a veteran, thank him for his service, and then remind him there's a ton of chipping paint that may be a challenge. Let me call the listing agent to see if she's had any other people attempt to go VA and if it's going to work for us. Because our people want us to do 2 things for them, save them what? Time and money, the 2 streams of revenue everybody doesn't have enough of. If I can save them time by not going to look at the house they wouldn't qualify for based on their product that they're using for financing, I can get them to the next house faster so they don't miss out on it, right? So any way you can, at least 10 homes a week, can you preview them so when your clients talk to you, you can speak like the local expert. That's what's going to differentiate you between yourself, the disruptors coming into our marketplaces, and the uneducated, it's a real word, look it up, the uneducated realtor down the street that's not at a brokerage that doesn't care, right? Because they're not having this class. They're just not.
Yep, absolutely. And some ideas too, if you guys have, I'm sure you have your market center, Facebook pages, stuff like that. If you can connect with any agents that might have home inspections that you can tag along with, I just think home inspections are such a fantastic way for you guys to preview real estate so that you can start learning about what's going to happen during the home inspection process, and just start learning about the nuts and bolts of a home so that you can help your people better. But remember that, generating leads is to help make people's lives better, but you must produce the lead. So we're going to talk to people. We're going to dig into their real estate wants and needs, but we've got to be asking for the business. We must produce the lead in order to get to doing seller presentations, in order to get to doing buyer presentations, and in order to get over to the running of your business. And when we're running our business, we're talking about, we've gotten the listing agreement signed. So now we're going to market seller listings. We're going to show, we've gotten the buyer agency contract signed. Now we need to take them shopping and showing them houses. Then we get them under contract and we need to negotiate the contracts. Then they're under contract. We need to do transaction to management to closing. We have relationships, right? We're still all about the relationship. So now we have vendor relationships that we're going to be pulling in here with lenders, with title people, with appraisers, with home inspectors. There's lots of people that get thrown into this piece of the running your business, and we have to stay in relationship with them. We need to set goals, right? If we don't have goals, if we don't know what target we're trying to hit, we're going to wander around. And then before we know it, 6 months are going to go by and we don't have any business still. And we don't want that to happen. And And we need to be very aware of compliance and risk management. We need to train on that. We need to know our contracts. We need to know the rules and the regulations and the real estate law so that we can protect our people. And we do that by attending training, and we get coaching like you're doing today. And we need to manage our money. And towards the end of all of Ignite, there's a really great session on financials. Because if we don't manage our money, we can do a lot of business and at the end of the year not have much money left. Like, we could have closed a ton of deals, but if we haven't managed our money, and at the end of the year, our savings account is still empty, then we haven't managed our money right. So we need to be cautious of, are we paying our quarterly taxes? How, salespeople, and we are salespeople, we are the easiest people to sell to. And you will start getting those phone calls to buy a subscription for this, to buy a subscription for that, to sign on to this service, to sign up for these leads, pay this much money for that. You have to be really careful with your money. So there's, best practices are these things on the left side for growing your business and these things on the right side for running our business. This is what successful people do, agents do every day. And success leaves clues. So the clues are, these are what successful agents have done. So those are the clues that we need to do to start running our businesses.
Susan, you make a great point about just the profitability thing. We can create a ton of revenue. If you look at the way all of our market centers get rated every month, Gary's rating them on profitability. Like, if you had a wicked good year and your bookie's still looking for you, said with love, you did it wrong, right? So in the grand scheme of things, staying focused on the fact. And that's why everybody has access to this tool, by the way. So if you punch in or write down, you have a sharp crayon, cgi.kw.com, there's a tool where you can go in and build your goal. If you've got a local productivity coach or a leadership member that can walk you through that conversation, you'll notice when you go into that tool, cgi.kw.com, it starts with profit first. What most business people do is, I'm going to sell widgets. That's the commodity I'm going to make. And you start selling widgets, and then you run your business, and whatever's left over is your profit. Wrong, right? And the way we built this tool is to defend our profit first. And then we extrapolate all of the taxes, cost of sale, expenses out. And then we engineer it down to how many kitchen tables does your face need to be to get to that number and protect that in the bank. So it's a really cool tool. It chunks it down for you. Because if you think I want to make 250 this year, and you wake up tomorrow, you're like, we'll start Monday, right? Oh, Monday's a holiday. We'll start Tuesday. Next thing you know, it's Christmas, right? So if you can chunk it down and realize, hey, this week I need to talk to this many people in my genius zone. I'm going to communicate with this many humans to make sure my face gets to this many kitchen tables this month. It's just a better way to look at it. Real quick too, Susan, Francesca put in asking about, how do we learn more about financing? Your local lender, most of you in your market center have a lender of choice, or your team has a lender of choice. Introducing yourself to that individual so they can explain to you their process. So when you do have a buyer that doesn't have representation, doesn't have their local lender, and I say local on purpose, you can push them. I shouldn't say push. You can guide them in that direction. You probably have a handful of people you work with. Local is important. As Nathan Dickey would say, our regional director, it's nice to have a lender you can track down and punch, right? You wouldn't hit them, but like, you want to be able to track them down. Like, oh, my clients are working with Bank of New England. Bank of New England, they died. Wow, that was a Bank of America, right? They're in a building in North Carolina. Who are you working with? Tony. He's on vacation. His calls are getting forwarded to Barbara. She's at lunch, right? You're never going to get your answer. But we know here at 463, Brad Kelly right down the hall. Phenomenal talent, phenomenal team. He's been with us for years. He's not our only choice, but he'd be my first choice if I have a buyer that's unguided right now. And find out from them what's going on. Get the local interest rates and find out what the numbers are. Because this is where buyers will push back, right, Susan? But we're shopping around to see what our rate is. Mr. Lindsay, your credit sucks. Your rate is what your rate is. And different lenders might be able to help you with different products. That's usually why you're maneuvering through different relationships with different lenders, because not every lender does every product. But the rate is the rate based on who you are, according to Experian and their friends. So don't let your buyers overthink that. And if your buyer is pushing back on getting pre-approval or showing proof of funds, they're probably not your jamity jam. You want to work with them, but they're not a conversation for right now. Somebody else needs your help today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And lenders are the best source for finding that information out. But this is a slide that you guys are going to see every day during Ignite, because it's that important, because we want to model our business after what successful agents do every day. And you know, I'm in the same boat. I have to attest to this. We lead generate every day. We're always on that. And we do what's most important first. So that's why we put lead generation as the number one thing in growing our business. And that's why we always recommend that you do that in the morning and get that going. If you wait until the afternoon, your day can get away from you so quickly, and then you run out of time. So if we don't lead generate, it's all about the lead. You got to produce that lead. So we are in Spark for Ignite, and we're going to start with your sphere. So we're going to talk about what is Spark. It's starting with your sphere. It's knowing your tools. It's preparing for success, and it's creating those daily habits to be successful. And the goal of Spark is to get an appointment within the first 2 weeks at a minimum. We really want you guys to, you know, resonate with that. It's all about the lead and the appointment. So how many contacts do you have to make every day to get the appointment? And then I would challenge you, if the goal is an appointment and you've made your 10 contacts today and you don't have the appointment, make more. Ask for the appointment. They're not going to say, will you come make an appointment with me? You've got to ask for it, and it's okay to ask for that. So that's what our goal is going to be. And, you know, I'm a big believer in writing things down, and I put them, I always have at least 1 or 2 sticky notes on my monitor, that person, with what are my reminders. A good sticky note for you today: I'm going to have an appointment within 2 weeks. Write it down, put it up where you can see it. Tell yourself that in the mornings when you get started, or if you're lead generating in the afternoon, because you're in Ignite in the morning, that means you have to do your lead generation when we get off of this call. And your goal is an appointment within 2 weeks. Okay. And I wouldn't focus on what am I going, you know, do I have to have something signed at that appointment? Just focus on getting the appointment, one step at a time. And then we can focus on what happens after that. Oh, shoot. I don't think I do. I have a little video here we're going to play from Gary. Hopefully this comes through.
Hi, I'm Gary Kelly. To get off to a fast start you can build on. Because if you repeated the principles every 90 days for a year, believe me, you have an awesome first year. And just as important, you would have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their teams to this very day. It's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there is really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Other skills are important, yet without leads to work with, your skills won't mean a thing. Dealing with business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Never. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want and deserve. Go get them, and good luck.
So, you know, one of the things I love about being part of Ignite is I learn something every single time too. And the first time I saw that video, I wrote down, dealing with business never takes the place of finding business. And I still have that on my monitor, and I look at it and I read it every day because I believe in that.
Gary still has a note on his desk in Austin that says anything that is not your one thing is just a distraction.
That's true.
And like, he's allowed to have 50, like that's ironically, everybody says So, Timmy, Gary's written this book called The One Thing, yet Gary's got a million things going on. Yeah. Gary's one thing is to keep you guys central in the transaction. Gary has a million things going on, and via span of control, he has a million different people doing a million different things to protect his one thing.
Yep.
The tech we're building, all of the ancillary relationships we're building that you heard about at Mega Camp. These are all things to keep you guys insulated from all the disruptors that are trying to come in and steal our cheese. Right. So Gary's one thing is to protect you as the real estate agent in the industry, because that's something that should never go away. The most successful agents are the ones that have grassroots relationships in their neighborhoods. One of our most successful agents in our market center doesn't leave his town. He left his town because he hired people that work in other towns around him, but he butters his bread in York. And Susan knows who I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
and he's staunch about it. Like, he's like, if my mom wanted to buy a house in the next town over, I'd make her drive and make her buy me lunch. Right.
Yep.
And he stayed laser focused on that zip code. So,
and he doesn't do it with like a lot of, there's nothing fancy about what he does.
No.
I mean, he will show up in
Yep.
regular clothes.
Yeah. He always looks like he just came from a Bon Jovi concert.
His hair is like this half the time.
Yep.
And, you know, he'll show up to a meeting with like top producing agents like himself and not have a pen or a notebook.
Yep.
You know, this is not about being the smartest person in the room.
Yep.
It's about being the person that you got to get there first.
Yeah. He's
Sometimes
authentic.
it's just about, he's authentic. He wants to help people. Sometimes it's just about being there.
Sounds like that's his market in New York.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he would joke his wife would, like, it would be 7:30 on a weeknight and she'd be like, oh my God, we're out of butter. And he's like, I will drive to Hannah Foods for a stick of butter. And he would purposefully, and if you met him, you'd be like, I don't feel like he would do that. He would purposefully take the long way to the butter and make sure he talked to everybody in the store.
Yeah.
Right. He's made himself the mayor of town. And that's really all you guys have to do. Pick your zip code and beat the daylights out of that zip code. Be the mayor of that town. Don't worry about, we have so many agents. We have a market center of agents that celebrate 3 licenses. I use that word selectively, right? And then I hear people like, I think I'm going to get my Idaho license. Like, slow down, like sell something in New Hampshire, right? And then sell something in Maine, and just like one neighborhood at a time,
Yeah.
So figure out what you want your zip code to be, attack that relentlessly, and then grow it from there. Should you need to, because a lot of agents don't need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact on it as the number of leads you have. So we are going to be talking about lead generation all day and all through Ignite, really. But it does come down to that. And there are leads at the grocery store. I am that weirdo. I love going to the grocery store, but I get business from the grocery store. I really do. Because people see me, then they see me on Facebook, then I send them a handwritten note, then I drop them a call. I'm constantly in their face as much as I possibly can be, in a really nice way. Because guess what? This is a fun business. Getting people through the process of buying and selling real estate is fun. We love doing that. But we have to remember that a piece of business is finite. You get a piece of business and the transaction closes. If you do not have more people to transact with, you have no income. So that's why we're always going to be bringing it back down to, how many leads do you have? You have one, great. Now go get another one. You got one appointment and you're only an hour in, don't stop.
Yeah.
Go get another one. It's all about how many leads we have. The more that we have in our sales pipeline, the better our income will be, because not everybody's going to be ready to transact at the same time. So we got to be like, we are on a mission. We are trying to get as many people as quickly as we can, on purpose, with care, into our pipeline and communicate with them regularly. So when they are ready to transact, they know that we're there and we're able to help them.
We always talk about Big Papi, right? Like, think about everybody adored him. You remember all the home runs. Do you remember all the strikeouts? You think he had more strikeouts and more home runs? We know he had more strikeouts. It's inevitable. We know national average is 19 no's to a yes. And to be in real estate, we have to park our ego, because the 19 no's we imagine that are essentially about us, they're not. This is when I said, ask the great question is the next question. The 19 no's usually have to do with the circumstance that the buyer or the consumer has in their head that makes them feel like they can't move forward. We just didn't ask the question to uncover that circumstance and reveal their true motivation for moving forward, or why they think they can't make the next step. So 95% of the no's have nothing to do with us. And I know it's my industry. My name's on the sign. It's all about me. No, it's not, stupid. Said with love. I say that with love.
Yep.
It's about them and us asking great questions to uncover how they define success for them and their loved ones.
Yep. Every no will get us closer. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to, so I've been, I'm a newer agent, but I've been doing this for now. It's just rolled over to 1 year. And as with, I think many people, the lead generating was extremely hard for me and still is, but also wrapping my brain around kind of what that meant for me and how I was going to do it. And I just wanted to add in that sometimes when we're doing it, it doesn't feel like it has, that we're going to get any success from certain conversations. So I just wanted to give 2 examples. One was someone who never even responded to me, didn't even acknowledge that I'd spoken. And it was about 2 months in that I got a random message, I'm ready to sell my house now. And that was it. And I sold her house. And and another one was somebody who I don't have a close relationship with at all. In fact, I hadn't even seen her in years. And she has sent me 2 successful referrals. So I guess I just wanted to put that out there, that sometimes of course, there's the ones that you get immediate gratification from, and those are great. And we strive for that, of course. But then sometimes the ones that feel the most deflating can later on turn into something. So
absolutely. Good for you. Good for you. You do. It's like, it's consistency, right? And sometimes when you're making those calls, it's great to let them off the hook. Like if you end up having to leave a message for someone or email because you can't get through to them on phone or whatever, let them off the hook. You might not need me right now. It's okay if you don't have time to get back to me. I just want to remind you, if you have a need, I'm always here to help. Because then, you don't want someone to not call you because they feel bad that they never returned your call.
Right.
They just don't need you yet, and that's okay. So,
we have to tell everyone in our life 7 times we're in real estate before they forget. And to Bethany's point, think about this. If you guys still go to brick and mortar, and if you're a video file, like I'm going to walk into Magnolia or Best Buy. If I walk in there and I'm staring at the TVs and I'm an adult male and the blue shirt comes up to me and he's like, thinking about buying something? Like, that's 2 buckets of stupid with a side of fries. Like, I don't even want to entertain that conversation. If they approach it differently and say, so is this going in your home office or the family room? Now you've engaged me. Because I'm like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about a new TV for the home office, but maybe I'll have 3 in there now, right? Like now you're speaking my language. I'm standing in a brick and mortar store in the middle of a pandemic looking at televisions, and you're asking me if I'm thinking about buying a TV. Like, take me to the next level, ask me a better question. And it's that engagement. Because if Bethany or any of you make the one call, hey, Tim, it's Stacy. I got into real estate. Do you need anything? Nope. Goodbye. Talk to you never. Right? Like, okay, cool. I'm off the hook. She's never going to bother me again. She has a horrible approach. I probably don't want to work with her. Or if it's just, hey, I just wanted to connect and see how you're doing. And we'll talk about the forward conversation moving forward. It's about connecting with people and going through that organic conversation that's going to happen anyway. Hey, Timothy, how are you and Janina and the boys? Hey, Timothy, how's Hewlett Packard? Right. And all the conversations. And eventually when work comes up, that's when you can say, I'm so glad you asked. I got my license. I'm with Keller Williams. Who do you know that I should know? But we don't get there because we let them off the hook, to Susan's point.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to call and sell you something because I'm hoping that today your 3 to 6 year window as an average American that you're going to buy or sell a transaction. And if it's not, sorry to bother you. We got to be better than that, guys. You are better than that. We're going to teach you how to use the words properly.
You are better than that. And you know what? It all starts with the person that talks to you the most, which is yourself. So you need to be, I talk to myself. I'm training myself to talk to myself, reminding me that I am here to help people. So if you're looking at lead generation, like, no one's going to want to talk to me, change the way that you think about that. People are going to want to talk to me. I'm here to help people. The best sales in the world solve real problems. That's what we do. People need places to live. We help them with that. People need to move. We help them with that. So I have really worked hard on developing my attitude towards calling people. And now my first thought is that they're lucky to work with me. I'm really good at what I do because I care so much. Now, when I have to make that call, it's so much easier for me because of what I'm telling myself.
Stuart Smalley from SNL, right, Susan? Good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sure. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, like, I've only been in the office for about a month or a month and a half. And
Welcome.
honestly, like, I feel like every day I come in, I'm really positive. And yesterday, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. Is there anything, and today I'm better, but is there anything like you do on those days that you just need to like pump yourself up? Or because I hadn't felt that yet. So
You know,
Susan,
I think
gratitude phone call, right? Gratitude phone
Yes,
call.
absolutely. Pick your easy calls and just make them, like, call and thank someone. Call and just ask someone how they're doing. And I think pumping yourself up looks different for everybody. Some, mine is I like to go in and like play loud music, Bruno Mars, something that really like has a high beat that gets my energy up. Some people are the opposite. They might need something tranquil, meditation, something that grounds them.
I feel like John's more of a Leonard Skinner than a Bruno Mars, but go ahead.
Yeah, we fight over that
I'm
because
picking
he's
up what you're
still,
putting down. Sure. Yeah.
yeah, we fight over the remote for the music, that's for sure. But it could be affirmations. I went to a training once, and the lady that was doing the training, she had her affirmations recorded on her phone, talking to herself, and she listens to it every day on her way into the office. And it's like this: I'm a great real estate agent. I'm here to help people. I look fantastic today. I love my job. I am so happy. People are going to want to talk to me today. And it's over. It's like 5 minutes of that. How does she feel when she steps out of her car and sits down at her desk? She feels great. And in order for us to be great to our people and be in great relationships, we need to feel that way. So I would try a few things. If, I hope that helps. I would try a few things.
Yeah. Cynthia, when we say
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when I'm doing the prospecting cycle, should I leave a message if the person never pick up the phone? If it looks like it's a home phone number. So should I leave a message, and how should I leave the message to that person that I don't know at all?
If they're not answering your call, leave the message. If they're not returning your call, write them a handwritten note. And I'm a fan of keeping a short message. Yep. Like, hey, this is Susan from Keller Williams. I have some ideas I might be able to help you out with. When you have a few minutes, please give me a call. Here's my number. No pressure. It's not scripty. It's not salesy.
But you notice Susan stated she's from Keller Williams. We need to do that. You need to make sure you state where you're from.
Yep. Don't give up on the lead. Don't give up on the contact until they're a lead. Find different ways. And again, let them off the hook. If you're leaving, if you're trying to get in touch with them and they haven't responded to you yet, it could be that they don't have a need yet. You just need to keep reminding them that you're there. Okay.
Cynthia, our gratitude phone call real quick, and we'll talk about care calls at some point too, but let's talk about the gratitude phone call. If you're driving into your office, or even the night before, if you're going to be working from home, and you pass that ball field where you and your friend both had your daughters playing soccer together, whatever the relationship is, pick a person in your life, somebody you know and love and trust, that you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe you speak to all the time. Maybe it's your friend that's at Planet Fatness on the treadmill next to you every other day. I don't know. You're calling that person. You're starting the day with, Rebecca, hey, it's Timmy. And I was just thinking about you passing the ball field where little Timmy and little Jimmy used to play baseball. I'm so glad your family's a part of our life. And I was thinking about you, and I just wanted to call and thank you for being a friend and a confidant. And I hope you have a great day. Like, if that doesn't put air in your sales and their sales, and we run the math, Gary's run the math. Of course he did. He loves his metrics. 0.0 humans are offended when you call and tell them you love them and you appreciate them. And that'll put air in your sales to start making your calls. And if you get 9 calls in, and some hate mail and some hang-ups and some French words that start with an F and end with a K, do another one, right? Because the toughest real estate for us to own is the 5.5 inches between our ears. And we have to defend that for the person that's looking for us, right? There's somebody every day looking for our help, and we need to find them. So don't get thrown off, but start with a gratitude phone call every day, for sure.
That sounds good. That sounds good. And who doesn't want to get a message like that if,
absolutely,
you know, if they don't answer? So
absolutely. Yeah. I can't believe it's been 7 years and you called to tell me you're grateful for me. Rude. Like, nobody's going to say that. If she does, scratch her. She's off the Hanukkah list at that point, right? She's not on the holiday card list anymore if she says that. But nobody's ever going to say that.
No.
Can I add something to that too?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Liz. I live in Easton, Massachusetts, but I just wanted to say that I love that idea, Timothy. And I was going to add, Cynthia, that maybe pick a day to make those focus on doing those phone calls, maybe at the beach, because I had open houses over the weekend and I made a point to go to the beach on Friday, do all my texts from there. Then I went into the open houses and I felt like super refreshed and energized and ready to, you know, conquer the weekend. So I think it's also okay to maybe, you know, switch it up a little bit just to keep you, you know, entertained, I guess. I hope that's okay to add.
Yeah, no, Elizabeth,
absolutely.
Great point. I think the last time we did a physical bold up here, we actually graduated March 12th, the day before the world ended. And God bless Mark Richard. He made the point of saying, great coach. If you guys don't know Mark Richard out of Greater Portland, you're missing out on life. Get to know Mark. He made a point of saying, like, listen, we're all, and at that point, things hadn't changed yet, but he just made a point of like, if I know it's a day that I'm going to just do my things, I'm going to make my calls to my MAPS clients, especially in Greater Portland, anywhere here in New England where you've got a beautiful view, go park there, right? You can plug your phone into the car. You can, I just bought my wife one of these things. They're like tables. It's probably for Wendy's, but she could use it for a laptop. You can hang it on your steering wheel and create a workspace, right? And you can sit there and rock and roll in the comfort of your car that you're probably paying too much for, but God bless your Mercedes, right? You can sit there, rock and roll in your car, make your calls, have a great view, and have that inspire you, right? Hey, how's it going? Where are you at? Actually, you know what? I decided to work from my car today. I'm sitting at Nubble in York, staring at the ocean, and I was thinking of you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what helps make your calls better? Smile while you're calling. It really does. I mean, I guess there's a lot of different things that we can do for that, for sure.
And when you find your secret spot, don't tell anybody where it is. Like Gary talks about this, right? You're going to get sniped. Like, let's all go to the beach. Like suddenly your day's thrown off because somebody showed up with like mimosas and blankets and Pandora and Bruno Mars, and then nothing gets done. So just lock and load, find your bunker, find your view, lock your doors, be safe, make sure people know where you are, but do it from your car. Do it from wherever you need to.
But do it.
Yeah. Mark Richard also said, if you get hyper good at lead generation, you don't need to do anything else in this business. You can leverage the rest of it out.
Yeah. But the most important piece of all of that is that you have to do it, right? So our daily success habits for that are what we're seeing on this screen, right? So all those circles that we're going to talk about in the Spark sessions of Ignite, they represent your habits. Having conversations, that's a circle. Right? We used to call them scripts. Now we're trying to call them conversations, but we have to practice what we say to people because we should not be practicing on our customers and our clients and our sphere. So we practice with each other and we add new contacts. That's what we do. The whys and hows of lead gen are practice your scripts, add new contacts to your database. The more people you add, the more lives that you can impact. So you have to be on purpose about what your day is going to look like. So it should be written out on your calendar. And it should start with 30 minutes daily of updating your contacts in command. It should be 30 minutes daily of script practice with a partner. And it should be lead gen. What does that look like? An hour? How much time do you have? If you're just starting out, you probably have a good 2 or 3 hours available for lead gen. That equals calling people and trying to earn new business. And it's practicing your contracts so that when you get the business, you know what you're doing and you can read those contracts upside down to your folks so that they have more confidence in you, and that you're getting them into a good position. And it doesn't have to be boring. Like lead generation doesn't have to be boring. It should be ideally the favorite part of your week. So lead gen where you live and play. Be on purpose about it. Is it at the grocery store? Is it at the soccer field? Is it bowling? Is it, networking? Are you joining some groups that you could, even virtual groups, Facebook groups? My husband's a Harley guy. He's on more Harley groups. He sometimes gets business from that stuff. So find your people that will resonate with you. But we do want to practice our conversations with people every day. And we do that so that we can have the ability to speak eloquently about real estate. It will separate you from your competition when you can do that. And it will come off more natural when you do that. So because the words we say define who we are as business owner. Our words matter. What we say matters to people. And we want to be honest with them. We want to be direct with them. It's not always about agreeing with the people that we're talking to, because often we need to be overcoming objections. We need to be sometimes digging out what their objections are, because some people don't want to tell you. So we have to practice our conversations every day so that we know how to lead them down the path of uncovering their objections and helping them get past them eloquently and with confidence. So that lead turns into a transaction.
Great way to think about it too, Susan, is every time you and John get an objection, it's not a no. It's not the end of the conversation or the engagement. It's a continuation of the interview.
Yep.
Right. An objection is they're politely saying, I want to feel heard and cared for. Please give me more information. That's what their objections are.
That is it.
Honestly, every property is going to have, there's about 5 to 7 objections you guys are going to run into 8 trillion times. What's going to change with all these transactions are the property. Well, no, Timmy, I'm selling the same house for the 3rd time in a row. The property, the condition of the property changed, and the emotions around the property changed. Because even if you helped the Kenyans move in 10 years ago, now they're the sellers. Their blood and sweat and tears are in that house. They raised a family in that house. So even though they're still the humans that were connected to the home, the condition of the home and the condition of their emotions and their heart are different because they're the sellers now. Mm-hmm. We've got to be aware of that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And, after we talk about the whys and the hows of lead gen during Spark, we're going to go into the elementals, where we're going to talk about some business basics, habits and activities that we know will make you successful in a shorter period of time, like adding 10 new people to your database every day, 10 handwritten notes, previewing properties. I mean, all of these things are super important. And the speed that ball up. If you have time to do more, then do more. All that means is that you're going to get there faster. And remember, our goal is an appointment within the next 2 weeks. So keep that in mind as you're adding these people to your database, that's our goal, that we want to add people to our database. And it's 10:08. So I'm going to do another slide and then we'll work towards a little break.
Sure.
So we're going to start with our sphere when we're talking about lead generation. So getting an appointment doesn't have to be with somebody that you've never met before. Start with people that you know. When my husband first got his real estate license, he didn't want to talk to his sphere, which was so silly because he'd been self-employed. He was a contractor for 20 something years before real estate. He has a enormous sphere. He didn't want to talk to them because he didn't want to. One of our friends sold Arbonne, and he's like, I don't want to be like Chrissy because, we see Chrissy coming and she's going to be wanting to sell us face cream. I don't want people to think that way about me when they see me. So he focused on expireds and for sale by owners. When I got my license, I'm like, look at dude, you've got an enormous sphere. We're going to go back to that. And now we focus on our sphere more than expireds and for sale by owners. Your sphere really, they want to work with you. They want to help you build your business. Get them engaged in helping you build your business and always show gratitude.
I remember when you would argue that John was probably at the height of his, we'll call them politely, adversarial conversations. FSBOs and expireds are a very real thing. They raise their hand. They want their home sold. Those conversations, Johnny's really good at them, and they're more adversarial. And even at the height of him making those calls, I remember we were in the training room here in Portsmouth, and I think we ran the math, and 78% of your business was still sphere. Right. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit. There's sphere and sphere of influence, and we need to be careful about those two different terms, because everybody's like, oh, I got my sphere of influence. Well, no, you got a bunch of friends. Are they influential? If you got 4,000 friends that only talk to their cat, that is not a sphere of influence. That's a bucket of crazy. We can get to, that's another meeting for another time.
Yeah.
So is your sphere truly influential? And if they're not, start to add influence to your sphere. I hope that makes sense. And we'll talk more about that later.
Absolutely. You know, your sphere is your family, your friends, your neighbors, coworkers, people that already know and like you, because people want to do business with people that they like. We do, right? When we want to, you know, I just went looking for some furniture, and I went down to my local furniture store because I love the guy that owns that furniture store.
Ross.
Yeah. Yep. Ross.
Closed on Sunday. See you at church.
See you at church. Yep. And so we went on Saturday. You know, so people want to do business with people that they like, and people that like you will want to do business with you. So go to your contacts. How many do you have? Multiply that by 6%. About 6% of your contacts will have a real estate transaction within the next 12 months. So if you don't have many contacts, got to get more contacts in there. All right. So are you guys up for a break? Want to do a quick break? It's 6:12. So I'm sorry, 6:12. It's 10:12.
You're all very early. Enjoy the rest of your morning. No,
I know, like, I don't know whose time I'm
what
looking
is in
at
your
here.
coffee,
10:12, not enough. I'm not getting enough sleep lately. 10:12. So we'll come back at 10:25. Does that work for everybody? Ish. I'll come back at 10:25 and answer and talk to whoever wants to be here, and we'll wait till, you know, the majority of everybody else is back.
Yeah, I'm hanging here. If people have questions, for sure. Okay. We're hanging out.
Does your wife like that thing for her steering wheel?
Tremendous pushback on it. It's in the vehicle. It's in the MKX. I don't think it's been utilized. Well, I haven't seen her use it yet. But she'll go and sit at like Aiden's, before Aiden was driving and had his own car, she would go sit at his practices for the hooligans, like over at Exeter and stuff like that, and just and read a book or whatever. So I just thought like it just made buckets of sense, but I don't know if she's wild about it.
Yeah, I saw it on I probably Facebook, because I'm a salesperson. I'm the easiest person to sell to.
In front of me and tell me somebody in my life needs it, and I'll take 2 with free shipping all day. Right. So yeah. So I don't think she's actually hooked it to her steering wheel, but it's a pretty cool concept. I think a lot of people, I mean, just so many people now that are working in their car in between offices or doing whatever. And especially for real estate agents, I think to have that rather than, I mean, the cool thing is that I think the new F-150s now have that drop down thing that the stick goes away and it goes totally flat. So you have a workspace to drop your notebook on. But it's the same concept, but she hasn't, I haven't got any reviews yet. I currently at 1 star, do not recommend until she tells me otherwise, but it was like $19. So whatever, it's a swing and a miss, you know, at least it appears that I was thinking about her. Right.
Yep, absolutely. Your heart was in the right place. Your heart was in the right place.
The one that has me over a barrel right now is I went in deep on the Litter Robot 3 Connect. It is we're not going to discuss price because I feel like she's listening. We call it the Lindsay poop ship. It looks like a spaceship the cats are supposed to get into. And it's a little disconcerting. There's like a nightlight in there, so it looks like a bad nightclub. And there's been no engagement. We've had it for 2 weeks, but there's been no engagement. So she's like, this has been a horrible waste of money. So we've got the other litter box in front of it with all these gang planks, hoping somebody will be dumb enough to get inside.
Oh my God.
And you get a push notification to your phone when somebody uses it. So
you do?
I'm constantly checking my phone to see if my wife is going to kill me for buying something that was right now proving to be a poor choice, but yeah, it's called the Litter Robot 3. And of course, I'm down the hallway with Jeff, because he also has cats. And I must have said Litter Robot 3 Connect. I must have said the poop ship like 3 or 4 times. And the next day he's like, dude, it's all in my social media because everything's listening, right? So his Facebook and his Instagram are all Litter Robot 3. I'm like, well, now you got to get one.
That's awesome.
Yep. So we'll see. But it's so when they go in, they use it. It sits for either 3, 7, or 15 minutes. I've got it set to 7. Apparently that's the magic number. And once they realize the weight of the cat has left, it does a full cycle. And as it spins, it will take all the litter and put it behind a gate. It rotates all the way over. The clump is going to fall into the bottom where it is stink proof. And then it rotates back into place and it's clean. And it's
that's entertaining though.
Well,
so look at it like you spent money on entertainment.
Janina's not entertained right now. I can tell you that much. She's just annoyed that we have this poop ship sitting in the house that nobody's using. Yeah.
That
oh, well.
Is awesome.
Oh, well.
Hey, Susan, I had a question for you real quick. Hi.
Sure.
And also, Tim, whoever wants to answer. So you were talking about before about postcards, right? You said about writing postcards.
Yes. Handwritten notes.
Yep.
Handwritten notes. Yeah. So what do you, so when you guys are writing it, what are you exactly saying? And like what scenery do you put it in? Like you said, you were in the grocery store and then you said you have like 10 contacts and you find and maybe write 10 postcards or handwritten notes.
That's a great question. And so it can be on anything. So if it's somebody that I just want to make sure that, and I'm authentic about this too. It could be someone I bump into at the grocery store. You know, for example, one of my kids was on a swim team when he was in high school. And I like going to the grocery store because, you know, it's like a cult when your kids are in sports. And you're stuck with these parents, and usually you find your group of parents on that team or whatever. And I spent so much time with them, and I really do miss seeing them. So when I bump into them at the grocery store or whatever, I can follow that up with the handwritten note that I have handwritten notes that have my business name on it. It's just a blank card inside. So I'll just write them a handwritten note like, hey, Jody, it was so great bumping into you at the grocery store. Nice catching up with you. I'm glad your family's doing well. And pop it in the mail. And I get business still from that swim team.
So yeah, so what I was asking, I guess, is that when you do that, that's already your sphere, right? In some way.
Yeah, it could be that I'm on the phone with somebody that isn't from my sphere, but I really enjoyed that conversation. So I might follow that up with the handwritten note. Really great connecting with you today. So happy to learn about your potential, you know, you're moving to Florida in a year and look forward to connecting with you to talk more about that. Or just great connecting with you today. If there's ever anything that I can do for you, please don't hesitate to call. I'm always here to help.
Okay.
It could be, you know, thanking them for something. You know, I do a lot of referral business. So yeah, I card and gift those people like mad.
Say it. It's my favorite line. Thanks a latte.
Thank you a latte. with the Starbucks card.
Yeah. Is it, do you pronounce your first name Christian or Krishan?
Krishan.
Krishan. I got them all wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Krishan. I apologize.
No, you're good.
So to Susan's point, any new engagement or any person from your sphere, somebody you already knew and loved and trusted that you now captured their permission to stay engaged, right? Because here's one of the limiting beliefs that we have as new agents. I haven't really introduced myself to people because my business cards aren't in yet. Oh my God. Right. First of all, go get your handwritten notes. And I'm not, if you've got branded note cards, God bless you. If your team has branded note cards, God bless you. Otherwise, go to Christmas Tree Shop, 4,000 for $1, right? It doesn't matter, right? There's a rhinoceros on the front. Nobody cares. They'll remember it, right? Who cares? Just go get unbranded note cards for cheap money. And ultimately, don't forget this. When you guys are getting started, if you're getting started, don't buy too many business cards. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're antiquated. They're good to have on you. But what happens is people get 1 trillion business cards, and Susan's seen this happen, and I'm sure we get some veteran agents that have seen this happen, and we hand them out like Pez, like Skittles, right? Be intriguing enough that they ask you for your business card. And if you really want them to ask you for your business card, induce the ask by asking them for theirs. What I would do if I were you, I wouldn't order more than I have to get the price break. So if you can order 500 and hold it there, have some on you. But if I do ask you for your business card, and the way I would force the ask in this environment is, hey, do you have one? And you're like, no, I don't. They're going to then be polite and ask you for yours. And at that point, that's when I would say, you know what? I actually just ran into somebody. I gave away my last card. And this might sound disingenuous, but stay with me on this. Hey, do you have your phone? Because most of your friends have a phone that looks like this. Yeah. And every one of you has the business card that no one will ever lose. The digital business card Gary made for us, your app. Mm-hmm. At that point, while I'm standing with them, I'm going to share my app with them, make sure they have it downloaded. And then my handwritten note tonight is, hey, Krishan, thank you for spending some time with me today. Thanks for downloading my app. Here's the card you had asked for. Mm-hmm. Look forward to connecting with you soon. If there's anyone that you know that we can help or we can serve, please stay in touch. I'll connect with you in a couple of weeks to get your thoughts about our app. Have a great day. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. So now they met me in person. They've got my app, which is super sticky. Unless you have like a 1983 Sony Ericsson, nobody's deleting apps. They're adding apps. Yeah. My best friends have like the 9 versions of Candy Crush. Did you delete the old one? No, I still have the old one, right? Everybody's got a trillion apps. Your app is sticky on their phone. They're never going to lose it. You still gave them the business card that you said you didn't have, and if you feel like that seems really dishonest, then pretend you run to your car and get one after they get their app from you, right? Super important. Yeah. Hit them with the handwritten note. Now in 24 hours, I've seen you in person. You got my app. You got a handwritten note from me, which is a touch, and you got the business card you asked for in under 24 hours. And if we do the 36 connect, what are we supposed to do? 9 connects every quarter. So you're off to a great start. I can't stress it enough. People buy too many business cards and people hand them out.
So let me ask you guys this also. So I just started in this business. I just graduated high school back in 2020, and now I just got into business now. So I got my license.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you. I got my license in July, and just starting out with the month. And so all my sphere right now is, like people at college right now, or people like, so, I mean, of course, I've talked to my team and everything about it. It's just, staying in touch with them and everything. So my thing is also, since I'm more like the younger agents and everything, I wonder if people do take things seriously with me because they look at me and I'm young. So, I mean, I feel like at that point it's just knowing like what I'm like the language I have to talk about in real estate. So my thing is like the clients I deal with, sometimes it's like, oh, I give them a call, talk to them, show them a couple places. And after that, they're gone, they're ghosted.
Well, congratulations and good for you. I think that's a fantastic move to get your license right out of high school.
Super
but
smart.
All of those friends have parents that may be downsizing, that may be needing a second home, and they're going to want to help their kids' friends. I do. I've got a 22 and a 20-year-old, and I want to help their friends. So that would be a limiting belief that people wouldn't want to do business with you because of your age. So I'm going to challenge you to change how you feel about that, because you know what? You have energy and you have time to devote to them and care about them. So learn your craft, practice for you in particular, I would really suggest practicing your scripts, because when you can speak eloquently about real estate to those people, they will forget your age. They're going to be more interested in what you have to say when you can show them your knowledge and when you can show them that you care, and ask a lot of questions, dig deeper. So that would be my advice to you. And there is the scripts in the in your materials. You have that.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it right now.
And if you commit to it and find a partner that will script with you, and have it be somebody that will also challenge you while you're scripting, not someone that will just give you the win every time. You guys want to find partners that you can practice your conversations with, where you throw each other a couple of conversations and then give them a couple of objections and then give them the win.
Okay.
Yeah. And to Susan's point, I also, because like I said, I've only been in this for 1 year, but one of my very first listings was I was up against 3 other very seasoned agents. And so my age wasn't a factor, but my age within the business was. And so this is my first listing presentation. And she had actually already decided that she was going with the other people, but said, fine, I'll listen to what you have to say. Anyway, she ended up picking me largely because of my newness. And that has now happened multiple other times. So sometimes exactly what we think is our puts us at a disadvantage can in some people's minds put us at an advantage. They want to give the underdog,
the newbie. Yeah.
So you never know who you're talking to.
Yeah. And
you just know your audience at that point.
Krishan, to Susan's earlier point too, don't forget, think about your classmates that just finished high school as well. They're off to university. And if they're the youngest, to Susan's point, maybe their parents are right sizing. And above and beyond that, to what Bethany just said, the last time anybody, and we're very blessed to be in New England near Boston with all the medical, the next time you go into major medical, our youngest, our 15-year-old Cameron, he is autistic and diabetic. So we have a really robust relationship with Children's Hospital. And when I go in and the 15-year-old doctor that just left Harvard comes off the elevator, I'm not horrified. I'm super psyched. He's super young. She's super young. They're wicked smart, and Gary calls us a teaching hospital, right?
Yeah.
You guys are amongst the smartest real estate agents on the planet. Well, I just started. That can't be true. Okay. You are currently hanging out with the most educated, the best trained real estate agents on the planet. So if anybody verbalizes, yeah, but you're 12 and a half and I'm a little concerned, I appreciate that. And my naivete and my willingness to grow and learn is why I chose Keller Williams. I'm in a relationship with 7,000 agents in New England, 175,000 agents in North America. I think we can handle your issues, Mr. Lindsay. And you also do that, whether you're on a team or not. You bring a veteran agent to that kitchen table with you, because our people want two things. They want to feel heard and cared for. And clearly you're a smart kid. You were smart enough to get your license 12 seconds after high school graduation. I love you and I'm mad at you in the same breath because I'm 1,000 years old and I wish I got on this skateboard a long time ago, brother. So God bless you for that. And then when you show up with a veteran, if Mac Jones shows up with Tom Brady, I think everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So bring a veteran to the kitchen table with you. You're going to win every time because you're parking your ego. You're bringing talent with you. And all you're worried about is that the client feels heard and cared for. You're going to win, hands down.
Yeah. And every no gets you closer to a yes. So this business is a numbers game. We don't give up. You cannot beat the person that never gives up. So be that person. And I know you're just going to crush it out there. So good job. And you have your sphere. So so you have your sphere, you have your friends' parents as sphere. And I would challenge you, go directly to the parents. So you don't have to go through the friend to get to the parent. And they'll appreciate that, that you go directly to them. According to NAR, 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative, or use an agent that they had worked with before. Those are huge numbers. 66% of sellers, right? We always are going to encourage you guys to go after listings. If you get the listings and get the sellers, you'll get the buyers. 66% of sellers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, relative, or an agent that they've used before. I think that most of that 66 is the friend, neighbor, or relative, because most agents do not stay in touch with their past clients.
Yeah,
I do, but boy, I take orphan clients and I stay in touch with them because their agent didn't stay in touch with them. And an orphan client is, I'm selling a house, working with the seller. Somebody else, Tim, brings the buyer to me and we go under contract. It closes. I now have the buyer's name and address. I know how to get in touch with them. So I start marketing to them because they're going to move in 5 to 7 years.
Eventually, yeah.
And their agent most likely has not kept in touch with them.
Yeah, to Susan's point, I was at the closing table. I got my check and I ran to the bank and my clients will never see me again. because we have a lot of transactional agents. They're like, oh, I'm done. I sold buyer X their house. I'm leaving now. Right. And as soon as the transaction's over, the contract is over, and everyone's professional relationship is over, it makes sense, like Susan said, to obviously stay in touch with that new buyer, because she was the attraction point for my buyer to be interested in 123 Main Street. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not crossing the sign. There's nothing disingenuous going on. As soon as you leave that closing table, that contract is null and void. Well, they're my friends, though. Cool. I invite all of you to count probably on two hands how many of your friends have worked with other people because you didn't stay engaged. So they're not our client for life because you went to Boy Scouts together. They're your client for life because you make them feel like your client for life. So great.
Also, I feel like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say also, because right now I'm in New Jersey. So what we do also is that I'm trying to do some rentals now, just because I feel that connection that as a rental, then you live up when they become a buyer. And if you help them through that time and stayed with them, like I said, a renter becomes a buyer.
Yep, absolutely. And those are people to put into your database in command and communicate to them regularly. And, those are things like birthday cards and, anniversary cards for when they did close a rental with you, or when they purchased a home. You can send them home anniversary cards. Things like that are really impactful. And those are your sphere, reaching out to those people that already know, like, and trust you. What that means for us is that the path to making the money that you want starts really with your sphere. And
Susan, I have a question.
Hi.
Before we start, my name is Isabel. I'm out of the Lowell office in Massachusetts. And when you were talking about making an appointment, is that for a potential listing or just to talk about real estate in general?
Yes and yes. So we need to start getting in conversations with people, and in person is really so much more impactful.
Right.
I would really, the biggest lead would be if you find someone that is ready to buy or sell and you have an appointment with them. However, we meet connectors. I call them connectors. I'm sure I am hijacking that from somebody. We meet connectors all the time. So if you have somebody in your sphere that you're letting them know you're in real estate and they want to sit down and talk to you about that, then make an appointment and sit down and talk to them about that. And then part of being on purpose about that appointment is, who do they know that might be ready to transact? Who do you know that might be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And then I usually like to give them an example of who they might know. So I would be specific, like, who at your work at Liberty Mutuals has been talking about maybe wanting to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Because if you just say, who do you know, sometimes that's like so big and they're like, I don't know. But if you can get them thinking about potential people they might know, like maybe it's somebody with a big family. Who in your family might be looking to make a move?
Okay.
How are your folks doing? Are they looking to, downsize? Are they looking for a second home?
Yeah.
I love that Susan brought that up too. She makes a great point. When we ask them,
thank you.
And I'm guilty of it because I'll say, who do you know that I should know? We got away from, and this is people's limiting belief, we got away from asking, who do you know from school or work or church? And picking those categories because, well, I don't want to say church because people might get offended. Well, if I know Susan and John well enough, I know I'm pretty familiar with their faith. And I know that if I mention church, she's not going to melt. And when I do mention church or soccer or Cat Maniac Club, like whatever your passion is that you know that she's connected to, when I mention that group, now she's not trying to think of all 4 trillion people on the planet. She's now thinking of the 38 people at the mom's soccer league or whatever the case may be. And she's now thinking of specific faces and conversations, as opposed to, who do you know on planet Earth that I can help? And they're like, let me Rolodex the planet. I'll be right back. Yep. But if I give her a group, she sees faces, she recalls conversations, and it's more specific. And it reminds her that I know what her life is all about. I know that soccer and church and whatever else group she's involved in, making her feel heard and cared for. So important. If you're comfortable drilling down to a category of their life, do so, it makes them easier to think about that person.
And then thank them. When you get somebody that does give you a name, and we want to get their name. So when we are asking for that referral or asking, who, at their church or whatever might be looking at their job and their family, when they give that to us, we want their contact information. We don't want to say, oh, here, give them my information, because we don't have any control over that.
Right.
So we're asking for their contact information, and then we're thanking them for that. And then that's another opportunity for a handwritten note after you leave that appointment. So yes and yes to your answers to your question. Yes, to just get an appointment to sit down and talk to anybody about real estate that wants to talk to you about that, so that you can start having those conversations. And yes, try to get those as many appointments as you can with people that have indicated that they might have a real estate need. But remember, we're in the relationship business until they have a real estate need. We get into relationship by talking and communicating and getting face-to-face with people.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This is a great graph here, the waves, and it's all about staying in touch with your sphere, right? So the first dot at the top of the wave, that's the day that somebody transacts. So the day that somebody buys or sells property. And then they fall down to the bottom, and that's the day after that they buy or sell. So what we want to do is we need to be able to track people as to when is the likelihood of them being back to the top of a wave, so that we know when people are more likely to transact. And hopefully we're all using a database. You have Command. If you're not familiar with it, I'm definitely not going into Command, because then we'll never end at 12. But you have a market center and you have tech people at your market center to make sure that you know how to use Command. We've got to put this information into Command so that you have a log of this, because we think we're going to remember the conversations that we have, but then you will get busy, people, so you won't remember. So you got to log that, and you want to track. Who do we know? When I'm talking to, Tim on the phone today, I'm going to try to gauge when was the last time he transacted, so I know about when he's going to want to be transacting again. So I'll challenge you guys. Think of 5 to 7 people that you can plot on this wave. If you can plot people on these hashtags, that's your first calls when you go to do lead generation after Ignite today. Think of your contacts that you have now. Where do they fall on this wave? If they're on the way back up, they're at the top of your call list. Okay. And remember, if they're plotting and they're getting towards the top of that wave, if you're a secret agent, they're not going to be transacting with you. Everyone has to know that you help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. If you're not able to plot somebody on that wave, then the trouble is you don't know when they're going to be ready to transact, and you're going to miss it. Because sometimes business is about being at the right place at the right time. It's our job to be at the right place at the right time. So we need to be able to ask the kind of questions that will help us plot people onto this wave. Okay.
Susan, real quick, making sure that everybody understands, we use a ton of acronyms. Welcome to KW. CRM is a customer relationship management tool, right? So we always talk about Command. The reason we do is because everyone on this screen has access to Command. Now, if you're on a team, maybe your team is using a different tool. But when we talk about database, we ask this all the time, where's your database? And people hold up their phones. That makes me want to leap through the screen and kick you in the face with love, of course. That is a phone. That's not your database. Because here's the problem. The differentiation between your phone and your database is your database will do things on your behalf to build your business while you're asleep, right? Your phone is holding a whole bunch of names, moving those people from the phone to Command or whatever tool your team might be using. But we're always going to recommend Command because you're already paying for it. It's part of your tech fee at your market center. You have access to it. And this is going to break your heart. And I'm still going to say it because I'm a coach and that's what we do. We break hearts and we tell truths. Your sale of your business, when it comes down to it, you're like, oh, I'm going to sell this and that. Like when I sell my business, people have this grandiose conversation in their head. Do you know what it's going to amount to? Your business that you sell, when you sell your business, should you sell your business, amounts to the data in a thumb drive. It's going to come down to a thumb drive. Wow, that seems really weird. Well, it's data. When you sell your business to somebody else, another agent takes it off your hand. If you've ever read the book, The Golden Handoff, about giving your database to somebody else, they're going to be looking for a thumb drive full of data with Bethany Pitcher, 603, whatever her number is, Bethany@leavemealone.com, and her physical address. That is a robust, those are the 4 points of contact that you should have in your database. So your phone, said with love, is not your database. It's your talking machine. It's where you play Candy Crush and you go on Tinder and swipe left if he's not cute, right? Other than that, your database is where you're going to communicate with campaigns and smart plans to stay in touch with the humans with the information they want in the medium in which they choose.
Yeah, so that you can plot them on this line and know when they're going to transact. And when do people transact? They transact based off of life events. What causes people to make a move? They get married, they get divorced, they have kids, they become empty nesters. They get their first real big paying jobs and they're first time home buyers. So life events. So when we're talking to people, we're asking about their life events, which will help us be able to plot them on this line. If we're not having conversations and staying in touch with people to get that information and plot them on that line, then you're building your business around a hope and wish method, where you're hoping you're in the right place at the wrong time. And I wish for success. And you don't want to hope for that and wish that you get it. It's not a good strategy. Hope is not a strategy. Hoping that you're in the right place. Having conversations about life events, plotting them on that line, that's a good strategy. And if you want to feel in control of how much money you're going to make, the more people you can plot on this line will be the more control that you have, because you'll be able to connect with them at the right time and be at the right place at the right time to help them transact business.
Susan,
Does that make sense?
Heather Austin was asking about when you feel it's appropriate to ask people for their contact information. And somebody else also put in a quick note, guys, don't forget our region teaches tech every Thursday, and there's going to be some command juiciness tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So
most people don't, thinking that people don't want to give you their contact information is a limiting belief. I just ask them right away. If I get on the phone with someone, I have a conversation and I'll let them know, while I have you on the phone, what's your current address and email address? So if we need to connect, that on that platform, I have that information. Don't worry, I'm not going to be spamming you. I'm not putting you on an email campaign or anything like that. So you're not going to start sending them emails every day, but I just ask for it. And you want to offer value, right? So if they're saying they have a life event, I'm getting married next year, and I'd say, great, where are you guys currently living? Where do you think you're going to want to live? You know what might be really helpful for you is you want to live in the Hampton area. How about if I set you up with some market information where you can see what homes become available in the Hampton area over the next 6 months before you get married, so that when you are ready, you already have a little bit better of a picture of the market. Would that be helpful for you? It would? Great. What's your email address so I can set you up on that? So I'm trying to find ways to offer value. Or, oh my gosh, all my kids are graduating and I don't know if I'm going to need all this space in the house. And I would just resonate with that, right? I'd see like, wow, jeepers, how are you keeping that clean? How many bathrooms are in there? 3? Does a smaller house make more sense for you guys in the next couple of years? Because I'm happy to start showing you what's in the market and, maybe single level homes or whatever, whatever that life event is, I want to find a way to add value to that. So I would ask for contact information right away.
Susan, would you also put them in MLS? I send them MLS
I put them on the MLS as fast as I can. If there's any way that somebody might want to look at property, even if they're selling, if you might be selling, how about if I set you up on the MLS so that you can see what your competitors are going to look like in the next 6 months?
Right.
Then they're getting some automatic information and the MLS is doing the heavy lifting, but my name is on it and they think I'm working for them.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Great question. Good point. Good point. Okay.
Real quick, Susan, Avani was asking if anybody lives in Ashland or Framingham that wants to do script practice. I'm going to poke a little fun at Avani. We're all on the Eastern Seaboard, so you're going to be waking up at the same time. I would also recommend as a coach that you probably don't want to know this person too well. Let me explain. I think if we're in the same market center, if Susan and I are both in 463 and we work closely together, the probability of me letting her off the hook more often than not is going to start to bubble up. Like, you know, we're in Portsmouth. We went out for some cocktainis. I won't bother her. She probably needs to sleep it off. We'll do scripts tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes, right?
Yeah.
So just find somebody. And again, I'll throw this out as a coach. If you are not plugged into the pivotshiftcall.com, James Shaw, every morning at 8 o'clock, he's our VP of learning. Phenomenal national call that he runs. He lives on the Eastern Seaboard. He's down in Florida. And you can find script partners from all over the country. And guess what? At 8 o'clock, if somebody's on the West Coast and they're awake, they're a maniac, and it's 5 out there and they're awake for that call. There's people all over the country that are willing to wake up at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to script with the best. So find somebody probably outside of your immediate ecosystem, so you don't have that real tight interpersonal relationship. And they're like, oh, I'll let her sleep it off. I know she was in a bad mood yesterday or whatever. They're going to get you up. They're going to hold you accountable, and you can work on the same scripts because we all have the same scripts because we're all KW. So don't worry about Framingham and Ashland, lovely towns, but find somebody outside your zip code. It might work better for you. And I would argue, Susan would agree, find a couple people, because if you have the same person and you're like, we're going to do it twice a week with one person, that turns into maybe once a week. Maybe find 2 people, have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and a Tuesday, Thursday. And then decide who you want to, you know, hang out with the most, because somebody's probably going to show up better than the other. And then you might outgrow that person too. Right. So just find somebody who's going to hold you accountable to do the scripts. And if you don't like doing
please
scripts,
type on the chat. How can I get this person to start in the morning the scripts? Can you please type so I know exactly?
Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna put in the link for James Shaw's group. It's pivotshiftcall.com. I'll put that in there. There's a Facebook page too, and he's on Zoom every morning, and you can connect with people there for sure, or people within this group as well if you guys want to share your cell phones or at least an email to get started.
If you guys are interested, in scripting with somebody on this call, put that in the chat with phone numbers and write those down and connect after this call. And then put it in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And put it in at a time that it's not going to get pushed out. So first thing in the morning is a fantastic time to have a script call. And when you do that, you're jumping right into it. You're calling. And if I'm your script partner, I'm calling and I'm jumping in right away. Hey, this is Susan with Keller Williams. How are you doing today? Wanted to give you a buzz. I heard you might be looking to sell your home, if that's the topic. But don't start with, oh, hi, it's Susan. How was your breakfast? Did the kids get off to school okay? All right, what do you want to script about today? Nope, you act like it's a call that's happening real time to get the most out of it, for sure. So we're going to talk about, did that help? Are we all good with that? Did anyone else have any questions on that? Okay. Don't fear your sphere. So one of the ways that you can have conversation with people, and if you're like, what do I even say to them? I don't even know what to talk to them about. The Ford script gives you suggestions of how to open up conversation with your sphere, right? So ask them about their family. And remember, we're going to take if you can find 5 to 7 people or however many people you can find on from that wave graph, those are the people you're going to start with, and you can use this Ford script with it. How's your family? Do they have small children? Do they have adult children? Ask them about those people. And then they're going to probably ask about yours, but it opens up the conversation, right? Because people move when there's life events. So if they're having a family life event, it could lead to real estate. And this is, I'm trying to practice, I am practicing using the word conversation in place of script, because these are just conversations. This is just you being you and being authentic and coming from curiosity, because we want to help people, but we can't help them unless we learn about what their life events are that might cause them to need our help. Okay. Their occupation. right? That could be an opportunity to open up a real estate conversation more now than ever, because people over the last 2 years, year and a half, we're learning that they don't necessarily have to be in the town that they've always been in to drive to the job that they've always been to, because they've been doing it remotely. So I've had some clients that live up here in New Hampshire that now can work remotely, and now they're living in Florida. So I helped them sell their home, and then I referred them to an agent and got a referral fee for that agent down in Florida. So people right now, occupation is a fantastic way to open up conversation, right? So, and that could be a care call. You're calling your sphere. How's it going? How's this last year and a half looked for you guys? How has that impacted your family? Do you have enough Zoom rooms in your house for everybody that's remote learning or working from home? Are you guys working from home, or are you going back to the office? That occupation is a great way to open up that conversation. Recreation. I know the streets up here in New Hampshire have on Route 16 going up to the mountains or going over to the beach. They have been more packed than ever with people going on having recreation and having vacation time, because they're not flying everywhere like they used to. They're not going on cruise ships like they used to. So, hey, what are you guys doing for fun? What did you do for fun this summer? How has that looked for you? Oh, you're putting in a pool? Oh, you want a house with a pool? Your wife's been asking for a pool? Lots of opportunities. Ask them what their favorite vacation spot is. Maybe these are all going to kind of blend into each other, right? You could be talking to your sphere. I know you've always wanted a vacation home up in the mountains. With your job, are you going into the office, or have you thought about just selling your home and living in your vacation home? Because we can find you a home in the mountains as your vacation and your permanent home if that's an option for you. A lot of people are doing that. Before I'm making these calls, I am back to the point of affirmations. I am saying to myself, people want to talk to me, and I always come from abundance. I always come from a place of care. I help people make great decisions. That's what I do. So when people say, what are you doing? I'm in real estate because I love helping people make great decisions. And tell yourself, I'm having these conversations and I'm going to have an appointment within 2 weeks. So we're having this forward script here where we have areas that we can talk to people about, but the goal is to get an appointment. Okay. Talk about their dreams. The dreams connect all of us. And these are funneling questions we're funneling the conversation into when is the next residential real estate move that's going to happen here. So it's our job to kind of lead this conversation. And, how was your life? How was your family? How's your job? They're going to come back and ask those questions of you too. So it's an authentic conversation showing your sphere that you care about them. And notice that none of these questions start off about real estate. People need to know you care about them so you don't immediately jump into real estate. You jump into caring and coming from contribution, and just be yourself. Do you guys feel like this is information to get you guys started on calls and getting appointments? Will this help you guys pick up that phone and get something going?
Yes. That's why when I was doing the perspective circle, but the person stopped me when I was trying kind of these questions, and they say, who I'm talking to? Do I know you? So it was awkward,
Yeah. And so I put myself in awkward positions all the time. And sometimes laughter breaks the ice when I do that. And that's okay, because again, I'm just being me. So it's okay to laugh at yourself with those people and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was so excited to just connect with you. It's Susan. I'm with Keller Williams, and we ran, make the connection as to how you got their name and number and calling them. and then circle it back. If you laugh, the people do what you do. It's like mirror and matching, right? When they hear in your voice that you're nervous, scared, upset, they're going to get nervous and scared and upset. When they hear laughter and they can hear and feel your smile and they can feel your passion, they're going to laugh with you. And if they don't, every no gets you closer to a yes. Okay, don't give up. Nobody can beat the person that never gives up. Anybody else have any thoughts on the Ford script? I laugh whenever I hear Ford script because my father always used to say Ford's stood for found on road dead.
Or fix or repair daily.
Fix or repair daily.
Yeah, if you drive a Ford, you're remarkably offended, which I do. So yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys can do this. So
well, and the other thing too, Susan, with Ford, like with most of your loved ones, moving through it in that order is fine. But if I'm going to go into a whole bunch of calls with allied resources that I haven't built out yet, like when you and John were starting, you need to make sure you had your allied resources, your butcher, your baker, your candlestick maker, landscaper, painter, GC, all that stuff, right? So I could start with D if I wanted to do that. I could start with D right away and just be like, hey, I was just in a class talking about building out our businesses. And as a landscaper, Tim, how do you differentiate yourself from other landscapers? And have a business conversation with them about what their dreams or goals are, or hit it from occupation, either way. The recreation thing, that's an easy call to my Mets after the 4th of July. I'm going to make that phone call because I'm going to lead with, hey, did you guys get to the Cape? You know, and then maybe that leads to, yeah, we rented again. It's sort of gross with COVID. We want to own our own place. Awesome. Guess what I do for a living, right? Sign here, you know, or just getting them talking about, you know, whatever it was around that. And then at that point you could say, yep, you know, I sat with my team. We reassessed our goals for the second half of the year. And based on the systems and the talent we have in place, we can help 36 more families. Who do you know that we should know, right? And bring it right back into helping others again. But we don't have to go, you have to start with F every time. You can use any one of those letters and attack the conversation appropriately with whomever you're looking to engage with.
Yeah. You know what? It's only Wednesday, people. It's Labor Day weekend. Call your sphere. What are you doing for Labor Day weekend? Oh, you going to a barbecue at your sister's house? How's their family doing? Where are they living now? I'm curious. Just come from curiosity, right? Kids are going back to school. Do you have people in your sphere that have children going back to school? Call them and ask them how it went. Just be authentic. I really I'm curious how to go. What does it even look like to go back to school right now for your family? How's that impacting you guys? So what's happening in the calendar? What's happening in their life? And then just pick one of these and just jump in and start there. But you're not going to get your appointment if you don't start. So after Ignite today, you need to make calls today and get that appointment. It's going to feel so great when you get that first appointment. It's going to feel so great when you get those people to add to your database. You're going to put the notes in command. You're going to follow up with them. And the next time you call them, you're going to have things to talk to them about. Okay. And when we're talking about conversations can look, I'm a fan of the phone. I just feel like this is such a great way to connect with people when you can hear each other's voices, when you can have passion and enthusiasm and they can hear that tone. But a conversation could be through Facebook Messenger. Not a huge fan of it, but it is very successful for a lot of people. And I'm always cautious with tone because tone can be misinterpreted with the written word. So I'm a fan of the phone call conversations, but do what works for you. Try some different things. Maybe you're trying to connect with somebody in your sphere through phone and it's just not working. Facebook message them if they're on, or text them. Or we call it a textio, where you'd send a video text to someone. And I mean, it looks kind of weird when you're in the office doing it, but it's like, hey, Tim, this is Susan. I haven't seen you guys in so long. I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. I hope you and the family are doing well and have a great weekend. Text a video.
And if you want them to know it's actually for them, do you have a whiteboard behind you? Right? Push play, Timmy, and just start the video with that, right? Because then now they know it's personalized for them. You know, the seventh person is going to see that you erase some names. And now it says Steve, but it doesn't matter, right? Everybody's going to park their ego, but you make it just novel enough, they're willing to push play.
I love that.
And to Susan's earlier point too, if Krishan is still here, at his age, if he can master the art of the conversation, he's going to win. It's a generation that only wants to text, that only wants to instant message. And Gary would argue, to Susan's earlier point, if you are in real-time conversation via direct message or text, we consider that an engagement. We consider that a contact. At the same time, getting on the phone, and I'm going to use some loose and flowing math that's going to equal 100. Bear with me. We know that there's three numbers that matter, three categories that matter when we're communicating with somebody, and why the phone is so powerful. 7% of our power on the phone is the words we choose. 43% of that is our tonality. And the other 50% is our body language. So when you guys say, but Timmy, I'm better off face-to-face, I appreciate that. We all are. They're getting 100% of us. Absent our physical presence, and Zoom now creates that for us, right? Everybody can see me waving my hands around, the emotion on my face. You can hear the tonality and the passion of my words, and you can hear the words flying out of my mouth. So like it or not, as my wife would say, you're getting 103% of me right now. God help you, right? And if that's how I feel I'm most present, then use that to your advantage, because people don't want to be in the same room with you if they're concerned about COVID still, or they'd rather meet on their deck or whatever. But absent that, using the phone and being able to use the words I'm choosing and the tonality of my words. To Susan's point, if you're a guy and you get a text from a girl and it says, hey, all capitals, she's mad at you. If it says, hey, ... she wants you to come over. You know where I'm going with this, right? You know, it's just very different. And with tonality extracted out of the conversation, you're like, I don't know if she's upset or she wants me to bring pizza over, but let's find out, right? So absent that, let's make sure that we are connecting with our voices. It's our most powerful tool.
Yep. And you just start, right? I haven't spoken to you in a while. How was your life? But if it is going to be a Facebook message, it's a conversation when it's two-way communication going back and forth. But yeah, pick up the phone, and I think you get more, you get a better result, and you can really show people how much you care by the phone. And sometimes it's just making those first few calls, and then you'll start to feel more comfortable with it. And don't get lost. Sometimes when we are calling our sphere, these are not hour-long conversations. This is something that, you know, when you're calling your sphere for lead generation, it's not an hour-long conversation. You want to get on the phone. Our goal while we're on the phone with our sphere is to figure out where we're going to plot them on that wave, show them our care, figure out how we can provide value, and get on the next call to get to work on getting your appointment. Right?
And if you're not as efficient as Susan, and you're a Talkosaurus Rex like me, if you're a high I on the disc and you just can't seem to shut up, I would recommend a couple of things. I used to have baby blocks. Nobody should be shocked by that. I used to have baby blocks on my desk with FORD. And as I moved through FORD, I moved them to the side. So I didn't forget that I had already moved through the how's work conversation. And I'm on to, did you get to the Cape? And hey, your goal or dream was to get that boat. Did you get the boat? Right. And absent that, maybe grab yourself, and this sounds super archaic, you're welcome, an egg timer. Like, yeah. Right. I need to move through these calls, because I absolutely detest the script that is still floating around our ecosystem of, hey, Susan, it's Tim Lindsay. This is a business call. It'll only take 2 minutes. I'm not wired that way.
Yeah. Right.
That to me felt very salesy and smarmy. And left unchecked, I will be on the phone with Susan for 4 hours. It's like you know, watching The English Patient with the volume up, right?
Yeah.
You know, so if you know that you're not going to be efficient because you're a connector, you're a high I, and you're Talkosaurus Rex, then find a way to check yourself and keep those conversations moving. But if you're saying to yourself right now, I'm not ready to pick up the phone, I'm not ready to make my calls. If you're a parent, were you ready for kids? If you're a homeowner, were you ready to buy the house? Like, we're not ready for any of this. but you're surrounded by massive talent and just start to make the calls. As Nathan Dickey said to me when I started back in 2010, we're making omelets, you're going to break some eggs.
Yeah.
Right? We got to work through this. And to Susan's point, we're not calling people that we don't know and test driving some scripts. I'm just going to have some natural conversations with my friends. You know, the unsolicited CMA that we love, Susan, right? Like, hey, if I ran some numbers for you and John, just to know where you are in the marketplace right now, would that be okay? I could swing by, or we could Zoom tomorrow at 4, Friday at 5. And it gets you a chance to do a CMA that you're thinking you can't do until you get your first listing incorrect. You could do it for a friend.
Yep.
And get some practice in and have a friendly conversation over some lemonade, over Zoom or in person on their deck or in their house. Who knows?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, and we always have to give people grace. There's going to be times when we call and somebody's in a bad mood. There's something going on in their life. So we give them grace. We don't take things personally. And we just move on and we ask how we can help. And if someone's going through a hard time and they tell you about it, then just pause and ask how you can help and show them that you care. And then follow that up with a very genuine, I hope you're feeling better card. And that's the power behind the handwritten notes. It's not just to check it off the list that I did this today. We have to put power behind all of the steps that we're taking during lead generation, power behind the conversation of finding out how we can help, and power behind those handwritten notes that I'm being authentic and showing people how I care, because I really, truly do care and I do want to help. Awesome. I know you guys are going to kill it. And when I come back, Tim, I forget, is it the 14th when we're back? I'm going to ask you guys who's had appointments and how they went. So I'm hoping that you guys
back
can
up.
share.
We're back up on the 14th and the 22nd.
Okay. So you guys can definitely, that's 2 weeks. Exactly. So you have, your goal is to get an appointment in 2 weeks. So I'll be seeing you 2 weeks from today to ask about those appointments and how those are going.
An amazing appointment is a kitchen table or a conference table, right? We're sitting to sign a buyer into our life. We're sitting to sign a seller into our life. Also the unsolicited CMA, or just like Susan was saying, having a natural conversation about somebody's real estate goals. That would be a great first step. We are not talking about getting your hair and nails done. We're not talking about showings. Those are not appointments. I mean, I love you. They're appointments and they're important. So you look good, but they're not the appointments we're talking about. A showing is not an appointment.
No.
An appointment means you're signing somebody into your business. That's the end game. That's what we want. Baby steps.
Yep. But these steps will get you there. So, you know, I know for me, I was like, oh, I just want to get somebody under contract. Well, we can't get somebody under contract and get to a closing table until we have contacts. So it really is conversations, contacts, appointments, agency agreements.
I'm sorry to bother you.
No, not at
all. Hey, Tim, how are you?
Hey, buddy.
As far as an appointment is concerned, you say appointment.
Yes,
are you talking about a listing appointment?
I'm talking about an appointment to sit down with somebody and talk to them about their real estate goals. I would love it if it were a listing appointment to list a house or to get somebody to sign a listing agreement. That's an even better appointment, right? So if you have an A, B, C for appointments, a listing appointment to sign a seller is an A. But it's also important because we earn business by being in relationship with people. And we're in relationship with people when we talk to them and have conversations with them. So it could be an appointment to talk to them about their real estate needs, whether they're today or they're in 6 months from now. So if you can sit down and have a conversation and start, practicing on your sphere, really, on how to eloquently have conversations about the market, about the process of buying and selling, how's your family looking? This could be an appointment that you end up forward scripting at an appointment and learning about their real estate needs.
Right.
And then asking for, well, who do you work with at Liberty Mutual that no longer has to go into the office, that might be wanting to get away from the snow this winter?
Right.
Yeah, I particularly like the forward scripting because it doesn't necessarily jump right into, hey, Susan, it's George, how you doing? I work for Keller Williams. How, you're looking for, no. I like talking about every other thing because ultimately the real estate's going to pop up, because you're going to ask me, hey, George, how you doing? Hey, I heard you working for Keller Williams. How's that going? And, the conversation has been started.
Yep.
Which is, I think everyone's relaxed at that point, because if I call you up, Susan, and say, hey, Susan, how's the family? How's things going? Hi, what are you doing for Labor Day? You going to a barbecue? Yada, yada, yada. Just the natural progression of the conversation will get there. But even if it doesn't get there, it's the care call is there.
It's a nurture, right?
Right. And they know that you're a realtor, and for Keller Williams, and, I've heard Tim say over the last year that, they'll be on your mind as long as, you have that care call every once in a while, 7 times.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Well,
sir.
and now you're hitting them from different angles too, right? So you have that forward conversation with them. And if it's in person, that's fantastic. But now you're making sure that you're reaching out to them on Facebook, right? And you're on Facebook. Be on Facebook, people. If you're not on Facebook, get on Facebook. If you're not on there regularly, get on there regularly. And sprinkle in your real estate business, so that there's another thing too, right? Like we all want our business page. I don't really get much from my business page. I get business from my personal page. So I don't throw up my real estate business on my personal page, but I am reminding them frequently enough that I'm not being obnoxious with it. They don't need to know every time I list a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home.
I agree.
But they love to see pictures of a closing.
Sure.
They love to see pictures of something happening at a showing that might be interesting, like some beautiful landscaping, or like there's a frog in the house, or who wants to come jump in this pool, or, there's ways for you to sprinkle it in. So it's our job to let people know that we're in this business, because we're specifically talking about our sphere. So that means that we should have multiple avenues for getting a hold of these people, for being in front of them, calling them.
I agree. And I think people appreciate more of the personal content that you throw up on social media. And like you said, sprinkle in the real estate here and there. It just reminds people, that you are a realtor.
That's right.
On social media, the Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule works in reverse. You always hear us say that 20% of the agent and 80% of the business. On your social media, even on your business page, it should be 80% local content, 80% you being the mayor, 80% you being the connective tissue of your neighborhood, 20% by the way. And you can even do that in a very passive way. You can say, hey, we had a mocktail at my open house. It's Mother's Day this weekend. If you want to make it a cocktail for mom, add X, right? Or DM me for the actual recipe. Right. All I said was open house. I didn't talk about 123 Main Street. To Susan's point, I'm not pounding my chest about my business, but I'm reminding you politely around the mocktail of the origin of the mocktail was from my open house. Right. Then you're giving them value and reminding them it's Mother's Day and that you're aware of that, and happy Mother's Day to your mother, and she'll love this margarita with more Rita than Marg, right? If that's her lane, right? And to unpack what George said, 3 quick things. He referenced the thing that we always talk about. You have to tell everybody 7 times you're in real estate before they forget. When you come to my office and tell me, hey, I told everybody on my phone 7 times, I love you, and you're lying, because that's impossible, because the video game of what we're doing is adding new humans every day. So you'll never be done. It's the hamster wheel of our business. That being said, even if I've told everyone in my life that I am a real estate agent 7 times, the other side of that coin is cool. Now they know what you do. Do they know how you do it? And I guarantee they don't. Right. So you have to get to the point where you say, Danielle, hey, you know what? I know we've talked a lot. I know I do real estate. Do you realize I require your help to do real estate? I need you to put me in touch with your people. And that's to Susan's earlier point. We're reaching out. I'm reaching out to all my best people to meet their best people. You will have a bunch of people in your life, in your sphere, that will never transact with you. They don't want you in their sock drawer. They don't want you to know that their husband or wife was bankrupt 7 years ago. And not that we need to know the financial interests of everything that's going on with all of our clients, but they feel that way. So you may never transact with your best friend, and your best friend, given the power and given the knowledge of what we need from them and the assistance we need from them, could send you 9 clients over the course of your career. Right. So super important to remember that it's about our peers. And Susan also said the order of the importance of the appointments. List is always first. And we say this with love. Even if your designation on your team is buyer's agent, I guarantee your rainmaker will never be mad when you come back to the office with a listing appointment. Why is listing important? Listing is the most important thing because the commodity that our industry requires is the house to sell, right? Unless your people are moving into the woods, every seller is a buyer. Not every buyer will be a seller immediately, right? So above and beyond that, and then I would put, appointment number C would be the unsolicited CMA or just the real estate checkup. So the listing first. We're always in pursuit of listings. Everybody that can hear the sound of our voice today should always be looking for listings. Buyers will come haphazardly. There's the collateral awesomeness of us pursuing our next kitchen table is the unrepresented qualified buyer.
Yep.
And if there's anybody at your office that disagrees with that statement, 603-834-2856. I'd love to find out where they're coming from. Listings rule our world. End of story.
It's all about the lead, and it's all about the listing lead, really. And, this right now, where we want you to get an appointment so that you're talking to people face to face, in person, having real estate conversations, having them with your sphere about the forward conversation. Once you're really good at that, we're going to back off on just having random conversations where we want you to have specific buyer-seller appointments, because that's how you're really going to move the needle in your business. So yes, we want you to have these appointments. We want you to have the conversations, but we always have to be asking for the appointment for the business. So when the business looks like I don't have any appointments, the business that you're asking for is the appointment. When you have the appointments, the business that you're asking for is a signed agreement. If they're not ready to transact, the business that you're asking for is the referral and getting the contact information. So know what you're after when you're meeting with these people, because otherwise you're just, you're socializing. So make your networking and your appointments be purposeful so that it's going to move the needle of your business towards a closing and an income. Okay. And guys, you have some tools for this. You have Command. How are you guys doing with Command? Are most of you using Command? Have you been in there? Are you adding people to Command?
I've been using it, but there's many frustrations in the learning curve. I did a listing presentation the other day, and literally it had hiccups, and I did the same presentation 12 times, but it taught me how to do the presentation. So by the end of the day, I could whip one off. But it's got a lot of features, and I think I need to do that 66-day challenge just to train myself on it.
Yeah. And, when you're starting out, your data, I'm going to encourage you guys. Yes, they have some great tools for presentations, but make sure you have the database piece down there where you're putting in, contacts and getting a really good health score on the information that you're putting in there for the contacts. You need all their contact information. And we had talked about this a little while ago, where when do you ask for the contact information? Right away, because we can't set them up on campaigns unless we have their information. And then, be a snoop a little bit. If it's somebody that's in your sphere and you're putting them in your database, go onto their Facebook page, find their birthday, get them on a birthday campaign. People love getting recognized for stuff. So find stuff to recognize them for, like their birthday. But if you don't have the information in there, you can't use those tools. I still don't do a super fancy listing presentation. It's really about, I don't even do a formal CMA, guys.
How dare you?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I don't. I run comparables.
Everyone's different though, right? It's conversational. You're like JV.
It's conversational.
Yeah.
I bring comparables. I bring a market statistics, and then everything else is about them. And I know that there's a lot of agents that have presentations, because I have had sellers that sign with me show me the presentations of people that they've also interviewed. And you know what? I just went to 2 of them recently where all of the information was about the agent. It's not about us. When we show them how much we care and we're knowledgeable about our business and we're providing value, That's how they'll know. That's how they'll know we're good at what we do. Everything else is about them. It's about their motivation, because their motivation is really their needs and their desires, and how we have to help them with that, how we can be a resource for that stuff. So for Command, or for whatever database you're using, I'm a fan of focusing first on having full contact information, and then those reminders on when to connect with them and how you're going to connect with them next. What is the plan that is automated to either send something out or to remind me to reach out to them? And if right now that is just a monthly call, then you are like 1,000 steps ahead of most agents, because most agents are not putting a reminder anywhere to just stay in touch with people. So I find in this business that we have a big tendency to always be getting ready to get ready. You have to just go out there and do it.
Analysis paralysis. Susan, Brenda had mentioned earlier, and there's in the chat, Bridget also mentioned some challenges with Command. So we're extremely fortunate at our market center here, 463. We've got a great market center tech trainer. His name's Robert Benson. He's actually in the room asking questions in chat. So maybe he'll turn on his camera so we can see his beautiful bald head. Maybe he won't. I don't know. And we also have a phenomenal marketing and design director. Her name is Alana Babineau. We call her Babs with love. So if you have these individuals in your market center, like please raise your hand and book time with those individuals. Absent that, we can certainly direct you to the regional training that's going on for tech. And yes, I know it's like the last thing I want to do. I don't understand it. I don't want to do it. Well, this is back to, we had this conversation at our market center this morning. There's the 3 Ds every day, right, Susan? Do, delegate, and dump. Like your highest and best use that you learned about in licensing class for a property also applies to us. So your list of 11 things you're going to do every day, you have to decide what Rebecca's face needs to be part of every day. That's a do. Delegate is, this is not a high quality item or a money-making activity for me. So somebody else in my life that probably can do it better than us should take this off my plate. Yes, that might be at a cost. Maybe it's not, right? Maybe it's for a ham sandwich and a coffee. I don't know. Figure it out. And then there's some stuff on your list that should probably get dumped. Your dog shouldn't be doing it, right? But we become, all of us do, because we're people pleasers. That's why we got into this industry. I want to help people. So are you doing lead generation Friday? No, I'm helping my cousin move again. Maybe your cousin should live in the woods. Maybe you should get back on the phone. Said with love, right? So we just got to figure out our do, delegate, and dump, and find out your resources at your market center. Track down who your tech person is, your market center tech trainer. There's Robert. Hey, buddy, you can unmute. You want to introduce yourself? And if you could help, the masses, guide them to our regional tech training, and then we'll throw it back to Susan.
Unmuted. How's it going, everybody?
Hi, Robert.
A lot of faces that I know here. It's good to see all of you. I'm actually typing in the chat right now. Cynthia, you had asked about what is the 66-day challenge. If you're not familiar with a gentleman named Marty Miller, Marty is on YouTube, and he is a KW agent down in Texas, and he's on his 4th version now of creating short, digestible videos in a 66-day format that allow you to move through the Command software very quickly and with relevant, really good information that you need now. So it's a short watch. You don't have to watch all 66 at one time, but it's a really good watch, and it will give you some great tips and hints. I also put in the chat our YouTube channel for Market Center 463, and that is kwtechtube.com. And each month I do a Command 101, and I'm actually writing the outlines for this month's. We're making a couple little modifications, but every month we do a 101 on Tuesdays and Thursdays on that KW Tech Tube, and it's live. And from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. we just go through the entire program over the course of the month. And the best part about it is, you can ask questions. The YouTube channel is also always monitored when we're live. So it's really good to kind of expose yourself to that. Plus, I saw somebody writing in the chat to contact their productivity coaches. If you guys don't have a market center technical trainer, we have a regional technical trainer. Her name is Brooke Silva, and she is fantastic as a resource in the region. And also a lot of the market center technical trainers that are, in a specific market center, we love to help out throughout the entire region. And if you ever wanted to ask me a question, you're more than welcome to. And I'll just give you my email. It's robert.vincent@kwclm. And we're all willing to help you guys. I get kind of sad when I see people that are frustrated with the software. I get it. When I first started with Keller Williams, I was like, what's going on? What is this all about here? But one of the most important things to remember is whenever you're dealing with new software, sometimes you don't think it should do something that it's doing because you're not used to it. You're used to doing things a different way, and you want to do things the way that you're used to doing them. So it does take a little bit of kind of like sometimes a shift in focus, a shift in paradigm a little bit. But honestly, it's really well laid out. And I like to think of it as a straight line from contact to contract or contact to close. It's a very straight line through there, as long as you just, remember that there are certain things that it wants you to do that, sometimes may not be the exact same way that you thought it should be done. But when you get right down to it, it's not very difficult, as long as someone can guide you through the first time to show you how easy it can be. I'm more than happy to be that person for you. So if you have any questions about it, I'm more than happy to help. So
Robert makes a great point. Just like our contract, sometimes the software feels the same way the contracts do it, and they both don't care about your feelings, right? And we have great people on board to help you with that kind of stuff. So again, Brooke Silva is our regional tech trainer. Ask your leadership about your market center tech trainer. If there's not a person yet, you need to find a person like Robert. You can't have our Robert. He's our Robert, although he just offered you that he's willing to share. If you go to KW Tech Tube, there's past content on there, and there'll be live content moving forward. And you guys are welcome to join us there. So if you don't have a tech trainer in your market center, tell your OP and your TL and your MCA you would like one yesterday.
Cool. So you guys now have a lot of resources. But the thing about them is you got to use them. So I would say even with Command and any challenges that you have, just start with the basics of making sure that you have a system for reaching back out to people in a systematic way. You'll get there with all the bells and whistles that Command can offer as you move through education around that tech. But to get started, 10 contacts a day is what we're looking for added to your database. That means the full contact information into Command, or if you're using a different CRM or database system, 10 contacts in there of their full information, name, address, phone numbers, email address, and then snoop around and see if you can get anything else that might benefit how you can help them, like their birthdays, like, are you friends with them on social media? What is the way on social media that they do like to interact? Or are they not on that at all? That's important to know too. If somebody, I have a seller right now that doesn't email at all. We can't even we have to wet signature everything. So you have to know people's love language, find out how people like to be communicated to, and communicate to them that way. And we're putting notes in Command, right, as we're going through, so that the next time you get reminded that it's time to reach out to them, you know how to reach out to them that will have the biggest impact to them, because it's always about them. It's not about us in this business. And we're moving right along, and the tools you need to be successful. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide, because some of these might not be pertinent to you, and some of these might be more market center specific. But you do have, you have Keller Mortgage, and I've never used Keller Mortgage, so I'm transparent on that. I don't know how to use it, but go to your market center if you have specific questions on any of the pieces here. And, one thing I do know about all of our market centers, they're all great. And what we love about Keller Williams is that we all want to help each other. And sometimes it might even be just another agent in the office. We love to help newer agents. I don't know anybody that doesn't like to help. I've asked for people in my market center for help, and they're always been very gracious about that. So if you need a resource, go to your leadership and they'll point you in the right direction. Kind of like we want to be the source of the source for our contacts. Our leadership is the source of the source for how you navigate Keller Williams. Okay.
And when you look at that graph real quick, Susan, like I know people see this and they're thinking right away that we're trying to be like a video game. Like, what does it mean virtual agent? I don't exist anymore. Or there's out there in the universe that are, you know, they're always talking about how if you go to their market center, it's a cartoon and there's all these different little people. God bless them. That's their model. What Gary is intentional about here is the virtual consumer means they are meeting us. 90% of our consumers are going to meet us online first, right? Yep. For our unmets. The virtual agent means you guys can work from anywhere, right? That thing you attach to your steering wheel while you're sitting at the beach. That means that's the virtuality of you being a virtual agent. And then the virtual market center, meaning obviously the connectivity. And we just experienced this for 18 months. You guys can be connected to your market center from anywhere. So that was really Gary's mindset there, and that it all lives in the Keller cloud now. And obviously, if you heard at Mega Camp, they are sunsetting Kelly. It's going to be Command Mobile. It's going to be more robust. It'll feel like you're holding command in your hand more so than Kelly does right now. So you'll be able to do your business from anywhere. That's really what that means, as opposed to we're turning you all into emojis. That's not the point.
And aren't we so lucky that we can be in this business and in this company that we can do our business from anywhere? I just think that's phenomenal. You can be on, well, if you're on vacation, you really should be on purpose about being on vacation. But as soon as you plan a vacation, that's when your phone will start to ring. So you can transact virtually from anywhere and even on vacation. And, you know, you do have tools in Command, and we've talked a lot about that. But, you know, just like your phone has apps, Command has apps. Click on them if you've never clicked on all of these. Put time in your calendar to do that outside of your lead generation time. Please don't try to learn Command when you're supposed to be lead generating, because remember, the number one thing on growing your business is lead generation. Do that and schedule time in your calendar after lead generation for things like going through all of these apps or clicking on the question mark to find more information on how to do something.
Yeah, if you're going to book time with your market center tech trainer, Robert tells our agents here at 463, like, I can't wait to meet with you, and I need more than just your cat in your command, right? You can't just have one contact. That is not where a smart plan springs from, right? So we need to get people in there so you have contacts that you can start to do smart plans and start to work through those kind of conversations with your market center tech trainer and your marketing and design people. So the important thing is getting those humans in there, right?
Getting them in there with good information. Garbage in is garbage out. So if you're just putting people in there without the information, then the Roberts of your business, your company can't help you, because there's nothing for them to work with. And there's nothing for you to work with if you're not putting full information in there. Your database is your business. You will forget people. You don't think you're going to when you're starting out. You're like, I'm going to remember to call that person every quarter, but you very quickly will get busy and you won't remember to do it on purpose. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to go on Facebook and they will have sold with somebody else. Don't be that person. It feels terrible. I've been there.
That would never happen. Oh, it happened to you. Crazy. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why didn't they call?
But Susan, I told everybody in my life 30 years ago I was in real estate. They're supposed to remember and call back.
Yeah. I had a seller and I had her house listed, and I gave her content to put on her Facebook page about her house being on the market with me. And another agent actually commented, "Why did you listed your house? Why didn't you list with me?" I just had to laugh, because that happens, right? That agent might know that person better than I do. But if you're a secret agent, they're not going to call you.
Correct.
So that's why, that's the power behind Command and a database, and having the information in there be accurate and correct and having it work for you.
And people push back and they're like, I don't want to use a CRM or Command because it feels like I'm putting my people into a system. The people are in there. It's not a system to manage them. It's a system to manage you. Please understand that. If a well-built smart plan or campaign, if you're speaking to people with the information they want in the way in which they want to hear it, you'll run into them at Hannah Foods and they're gonna be like, oh my God, I got that email. It was so informative. You'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm glad it's working. Right. And Robert will tell you this too. Put yourself into your command. So you can also, that they're going to give you an opportunity to edit and view stuff before it goes out to the masses, but you want to see what the end user experience looks like. Put yourself in there too, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, you guys are at such an advantage because there's so many agents and we were in this boat. We long before Command was even available, we had a different CRM and really there was some crap in there, you know, not good information. You're at an advantage point where now you're starting, you're just beginning to add people into Command and into your database. You have the ability to have it all be really great information. So when we're saying add 10 people, if you don't have good information, don't even add them. Wait until you do. Good people in, good people out. That's the best part for starting out now, is that everything that you put in there can be of high quality. Okay. There's 3 things, you know, that we can control: who you follow up with, what frequency you follow up with them, and with what intensity. So how often am I going to reach out to them, and with what intensity? Am I going to be like on it with them? I am. I'm going to be intense with them because I really want to help them. And your intensity is going to increase when you go back to that wave and you can plot them. Your frequency and intensity is going to increase when they're on the hashtags that were going up to the back to the peak. So we can control how intense and how frequently we're going to communicate with people based off of where on that wave do they fit. When we're not reaching out to our people consistently, we have a different kind of wave, and it's a wave in your income that goes like that. That's not a good wave. That means like I contacted people, didn't do any lead gen, so I didn't contact any people. Now I have no business. I have to start building my pipeline all over again. And you're not going to hit a consistency of having income and commissions coming into you. So who's your sphere? Where are they on that line? Are there full information into your database? And what is your plan for connecting with them? That is how you make money. So new people in, they become part of your daily habits, right? So new people in is still your sphere, even though they're not new to you. They're new to your database, and that becomes your daily habits. So when we were back talking about the daily habits that successful agents do every day to be successful, it starts right here with the lead gen and adding people into your database so that you now have people to contact every day. Because
Susan,
we're adding people in today and we're going to add them in a week, and they're going to scale out. What?
Susan, I have a question about adding names to a database.
Yeah.
My concern is a lot of people don't like their names and personal information added to a database. Will I be the only one that have access to that, or is this now access to the whole of Keller Williams at the end of the day?
So happy you asked that question. That's just for you. That's your database for your sphere. So we don't use the word database or CRM with our contacts. We just ask them, you know, hey, I'd like to be able to reach out to you. You know, hey, this is a good way to get an address. I'm getting ready for my Christmas card list. I'd love your address so I can send you a card at the holidays. Usually the objection is with us, thinking that they're going to have an objection with us asking the question. They usually do not. So this is just private information to you. We don't tell them that it's a database, because you're right, that's scary, right? For them, they're like, oh no, I'm going to get spammed. CRM.
That's exactly what I'm worried about. Yeah. Is because as soon as you add your name somewhere, then suddenly it starts webbing out to different websites, and then you're getting phone calls from who know where, from who know what. So that's always my concern is adding names. And I've done my contact list, but that's always the concern for me, is how people are going to feel that I'm adding their name to a contact list.
That was one of the biggest concerns when this all started, and Gary made it clear there was going to be a data pledge from the company. So it's your data. It's not, and you know, he's like, don't worry, as soon as you add your Aunt Stacy, she's not suddenly going to get an email from Gary. So It's just like we practice as a market center and as a company. You're listing your lead, right? It's your data. It's always going to be your data. So, and if that bridge gets crossed, let your leadership know. And I can assure you right now, it's not going to happen.
I have never heard of that bridge getting crossed. And I would be heartbroken if I did hear that. I just know that I won't. So yeah, don't use the word database with your client or your customer, but it is definitely private information that they're doing it. But once they're in there, now you can control things. You can control the conversation better the next time you're reaching out to them because you have notes in there about what you talked about. So when I'm lead generating, I have my database up and I'm calling and I pull up that contact and I'm typing in there while I'm on the phone with them, or I'm making a note. And when I get off the phone, I'm updating that contact so that I'm constantly refreshing the information that I have about them so that I can know how I can help them the best. And I'm coming from a place of value all the time. So if they tell me that, you know, I'm talking about their family and maybe their kids are in elementary school and they're struggling with virtual learning, I might have resources. I might find a great article on helping elementary school kids virtually learn. And I'm going to give that to them. I'm going to send them to that to them as a nice touch, but I'm only going to know that if I write a note in there to remind me. Or maybe there's another way that you can add value to their life. Like, you know, they tell you that they're looking to have a home renovation project. Maybe you can add value by giving them some resources for completing some work. And then you put that note in there that you gave them that. So then, you know, you'll have a reminder to follow up. Hey, I know I gave you George's name on helping you with that addition. How did it work out? Has he started yet? Have you been happy with him? I always like to ask when I refer somebody how they did. So you're finding ways to stay in communication with them throughout the course of the year and then the following year. Your database really is powerful, guys. It's, you know, once you've been in the business for many years and you can go back and see how much communication you've had with them and you're getting repeat and referral business from them, it feels fantastic. But it really starts with documenting all that stuff into your database. Does anyone else have any questions on that? Okay. Remember, you can just interrupt me at any time because I can kind of go on and on.
I do have a comment, Susan.
Yeah.
So when I talked to my coach initially, because I'm new at this, so when we were doing the database, it was kind of interesting because in my head, I wanted to just put the people that I would be comfortable calling. And he said, no, you put everybody in. And because Keller Williams is international, he said, because I have a lot of cousins that live in Ireland and Canada, and he says, you can utilize them too. He goes, you know, the worst case scenario is, you know, you refer them to a Keller Williams agent in Ireland. And he goes, you get a referral fee. So, like, I think it's great when we do the little sidebars on Ignite and stuff, because I try to get other realtors contact information because, you know, we all have people that we know that are looking to relocate, especially from Connecticut where people are leaving in mass droves. So, you know, it's nice to be able to say, hey, you're heading to Florida. I have these people, and I try to give them 2 or 3 people so that they have a choice. But obviously I'd like to keep it in the family. So yeah, I think it's a good opportunity.
Absolutely. And one of those apps along the left vertical line in Command is for referrals. And so I use that a lot because, you know, if I'm selling a house here and somebody's moving to Florida or Texas or someplace else, and I don't have an already established referral partner there, I use the referrals tab and I can look and see what agents are in the area that they're looking to move to. And it shows me their production levels. And it can link you to one click away from their website. So, you know, there are a lot of features in Command that you'll learn over time, but definitely I will tout the referral banner every day. I do a lot with referrals. I give them and receive income from them, and I receive them from other agents, and I'm always so happy to pay a referral fee for somebody that passed my name and contact information on to somebody else. So yeah.
Susan, to Brenda's earlier point, I just put in the chat at 11:43 the DTD2 tool. And yes, Gary loves Star Wars, but it's not a robot. So DTD2, do the database too. It's to unbias your brain around making the calls, Brenda, right? Because I only want to call the people that aren't going to pick up, or the people that want to talk to me about fudge and kittens. Agreed. And I also want to make sure I move through my entire database. So the DTD2 tool is going to, every week, it breaks it up by quarter. So every week, 13 weeks to a quarter. If you've ever read the book from our good friend Brian Moran, the 12-week year, it's you have 12 business weeks every year, every quarter, and then you have a week that you take off. So 13 weeks every quarter, 2 letters. There's your alphabet, right? And it's going to drive you through the conversations of A and W, which is not a root beer. It's also A and W, B and E, not breaking and entering, but they're broken out like that. So I'm going to call all my B's and all my E's that week. And you can add a third letter if you want. So you got calls to 2 and then text to 1, but you're constantly rotating through. So you're not skipping over. Oh, Adam Silver, I should call him. And I just know that he's going to be, busy, or I don't want to bother him, or I'm embarrassed to tell him I'm in real estate, or whatever our limiting belief is. It drives us through all the conversations. Then you're never missing anybody. And it takes call bias off the table if you're willing to lean into it and use it. So the DTD tool, do the database too. It's if you go to KW Connect and just punch in DTD2, if you want to share it with other people, if you lose this link, everything's there at KW Connect. That is like YouTube and Google for our entire company.
Yeah, those are toolkits for you. KW Connect has great resources. Your Ignite toolkit has resources, script books, buyer lead sheets, a 411. I'm not going to go into each and every one of these because we're running out of time. But previewing homes job aid, a pre-listing questionnaire, a pre-listing packet, and open house tools. So there are resources that you guys can go and get more information on in your Ignite toolkit. But part of Ignite, what we want to do is we want to prepare you for success. So the rest of the modules for the first section of Ignite, which is Spark, which we're in today, is going to be a great one on lead generation is the core of your business. So we're going to talk about lead generation every single time you're in Ignite, because it is our number one. We got to lead generate. If we don't lead generate, we don't get the privilege of doing any of the other parts of our job. Powerful language gets results. Fantastic. So that is all about how to have the right conversations. The language that we use, the words that we use matter. How we say them matters. If we can increase how effective our calls are by getting more appointments, by getting better information, then we're going to get more agency agreements signed, which is going to lead to more purchase and sales agreements, which is going to be more times you get to sit at a conference table at a closing and earn a commission check. So what we say matters, and language is important. There's a whole section on your database being your business, setting goals that matter. Like, who remembers what our goal is for the first 2 weeks? Set an appointment. Absolutely. We're going to talk about a whole day on delivering your value proposition, and some fun ones: find and win the buyer and find seller leads, a day in the life of the real estate agent, and market center specific module. So that's going to be Spark. It's going to help us with, being more human more often with more people so we can get more business. We have what we need inside us. These tools will help bring that success to the forefront for you. It will help give you insights. People will be moving all the time. Our job is to show how we care about people and be top of mind so that when they're ready to make that move, we're there to help them make that move. The hardest part is being accountable to ourselves to do the work. So this is what Ignite is about, is to help you guys have those tools. And then after that, we're going to jump into the elementals of Ignite, which are prospecting, marketing, open houses, going on seller appointments and buyer appointments, making and receiving offers. There's a lot to making and receiving offers, negotiating the deal, right? How are we going to negotiate on behalf of our clients? and then that financial basics, which is a phenomenal module, and then contract to close, which is super fun and one of my favorites, and market center specific module. So there'll be something market center specific at the very end of Ignite. But we're going to get started with the 10-4, and we can really start this today. You know, habits are growing and managing your database, prospecting, following up, and knowing your market. You know, learn to be the expert about homes in your market. We don't want to practice on our first client. So we practice today, every day. And then, you know, the daily 10-4, this is daily. 10 new contacts added to your database. Speak with 10 people in your database. Write 10 notes to people you've recently contacted, and preview 10 homes per week. The number is 10. Math solves all problems, and the number really is 10. You will have some traction in your business with these numbers. And, you know, when we're previewing homes, you know, we're learning some other things too. Like we have to learn how to use lock boxes and remember not to put the keys in our pocket and drive away with them. Because yeah, everyone does stuff like that the first time. So we need to jump in and start practicing that. We need to learn about the houses. We need to know our market. We need to start learning about, you know, what are some property specific requirements for FHA loans and VA loans. We need to know what a forced hot water system looks like versus a forced hot air system. The 10 notes can be even, you know, sometimes when I need to connect, I can be on Facebook or Instagram and I can see a life event happening. I can send a personal note about that in someone's life. That's a great reason to send a note. So what if I do less than 10? Then your business will grow more slowly. What if you do more than 10? Then your business will speed up and you'll get there faster. Oh, 10-4 is your birthday. That's awesome, Sarah. Does anybody have any questions on this 10-4? We're going to see this slide again in Ignite. So I let it resonate with you that the number is 10.
They're so excited about the 10-4 they can't speak. Which is
I know. I'm like,
yes, yeah. They can hardly wait.
Hey, you know, some of you out there are going to end up just loving lead generation. You just don't know it yet, because it's very rewarding when you get those appointments. And when somebody says thank you for helping me, it feels so good. And it's going to fuel you to make that next call. And if by noon you only have 7 contacts, keep going. If by noon you already have all your contacts and you have nothing to do, keep going. And remember the Ford script.
Susan, you talked about, you know, it's grow the business in the morning, run it in the afternoon. But if you get to the afternoon and there's no run to run, keep growing, right? And you're like, oh my God, I'm on the phone all day. This sounds like it's like a Jerry Lewis telethon. I appreciate that and deal with it, right? Like this is just what we do. I'm going to keep talking to the humans till I find someone to help. When I find someone to help, then I can spend my afternoons working on those tasks around that appointment and that transaction. Other than that, you know, we're on the phones or whatever you're doing. To Susan's point, you're going to fall in love with the lead generation that you enjoy doing. And that's about making sure that you understand your disc and your KPA and your genius zone and what corner of the sandbox you should be playing in at a high level. If you can figure out what you love to do, you know, and some of you, if you're really high S, high C on your disc and you're more operational and you love a good newsletter with pie charts and bar graphs and you're going to send one out every 29 and a half days, cool. That's just going to take longer to get some teeth. That's going to take longer to get some success and some feedback from the humans. So I would say augment that with some actual conversations, but that can be your long play if we're willing to do it. You can't do a newsletter for 3 months and say it didn't work. We know that it won't work after 3 months. It's going to take a year or so to start to get traction, but we've got agents that are crushing it. That's their one thing. I'll pick on Chris Carr, as we always do. Great agent from our market center. He and his wife, Jill, have been doing a newsletter now. They probably send it to 12,000 people. They started with 150. It is his one thing. He does not love to pick up the phone to call people. He loves to pick up the phone to answer calls. And people call and they're like, I've been getting your newsletter since the Carter administration. We're ready to list. Cool.
It's
it worked,
true.
right? Just keep doing it, right?
And don't try to do everything. it is important to find out what works for you.
Right.
But you know, and it's okay if newsletters aren't for you. They're not for me. It's a snoozer for me, but for him, he loves that and it works for him.
Yep.
So figure out what works for you. And until you're really busy, double down, get there faster. Making money's fun. It's fun being able to pick up the check when you go out with your friends for dinner because you can afford to do that. Do that. Double down.
Pay attention when Gary's talking to mega agents. They're always, every one of them will always talk about the one thing they and their team are doing at a high level. If you heard Mike Hicks last week during Mega from down south, they have the promise. They ask for referrals during the transaction incessantly, right? Everybody's going to have their one thing, and you focus on that, and the rest of it will, the industry will show up for you.
Yep. I have a question.
Sure.
Really quick. When you say preview 10 homes per week, I don't know necessarily that there are 10 open houses in my area, but there may be 10 houses on the market. Can I make an appointment for myself to go to the home?
Not if you want to have a good co-broke relationship.
Right. That's what I figured.
So, and I know, I forget what section it is. It may be the day in the life of the agent I'm teaching. I am super passionate about co-broke relationships. No, don't be that agent. But here's some suggestions. Find out if there's agents in your office that are doing showings that are really busy with buyers that you could tag along with. Find out if anyone needs coverage on a home inspection. Offer to help do those things. If there's an agent that's really busy and has a lot of home inspections and you offer to go do one of those, that's a great way to preview a home with a home inspector, following a home inspector around teaching you all about homes. How fantastic is that? I know if the open houses are a challenge, then just find other ways to get in there. If there are, I just lost my train of thought. Open houses. Well, I also would, you can go and preview homes with your family. If you're just trying to learn like the mechanics of a home, figure out what your listing input sheet is. Here's a great fun thing to do. Well, I'm kind of weird like that, but print out an MLS input sheet, the information you're going to need to put a listing up, and go to your house and your family's houses and see if you could fill out that sheet. That will give you input as to where you might need to pick up some education around homes. If it's to learn your market, figure out what are the new to the market, what are the average days on market, click through virtually online to those pictures, and then maybe do a drive-by of that house. Because what the pictures don't always show might be that there's like Tarp City living next door to that. And so then when you get a phone call about that, you have some insight on that. And that's a good way to preview homes. I Google Earth stuff for people before I take them out on shopping, when I know those things could be important if I'm not familiar with something and I need to know if there's like, you know, Sanford and Sons across the street. And
yeah,
that's
sometimes
be a
quiet
problem.
neighborhood means cemetery, right?
Yeah.
And if that's not their jammity jam, some people are like, oh, cool, I love dead people. Awesome. Some people don't, right? So we're not going to make a judgment and be like, you might not want the gravestones across the way, but just giving them that information, right?
Yeah. I know, being new, I pick up some showings for some other agents that are really busy, and I'll show the homes for them. And they pay me for my time to show the home. So I'm in seeing homes. It's not like benefiting me as the person that I'm not selling the house, but I'm out showing the homes to people.
That's a great suggestion too, Shannon. Thank you for adding that. Go out onto your Market Center Facebook page and let the people in your office know that you're looking to preview homes if they need any help with something. You never know who's going to see that is like, you know what, I'm in a jam this weekend. I want to go away for this weekend. Maybe you could cover my showings for this weekend. They'll help you if you put it out to the universe in your KW Market Center page. For sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We are nearing the end of our time, so I hope you guys do make the most of these Spark modules that are coming up. I think they're really great. There's some really great nuggets that you can get from each and every one of them. But for today, you know, how has your thinking changed? And what do you feel differently about? How will your behavior be different? Does anyone have any ahas or thoughts that they might like to share with everybody?
Give us something.
I feel like I need to arrange my day a little bit better as far as where I'm starting. You know, I've been doing a lot of classes in the morning, but, you know, like really putting time aside to do certain aspects of my day will help.
Awesome. That's important for everybody, regardless of your experience level, is getting your day under control. Otherwise, you get to noontime and you're like, oh, darn it, I haven't even done anything yet.
Great point, Brenda, too. We do our best at our market center to defend 9 to 11. So after we do a morning huddle at 463 called the Quick Start. And once that's done at 9 o'clock from 9 to 11, for the most part, outside of today, Wednesday would be the lone day because we run contracts for all 3 of our states. So we have contracts class, but again, we would consider that mandatory. And we drop that in a time in which the kids should not be busy doing anything but calling the other humans. So we're pulling you out of lead generation to have you go to a class to learn the contracts so you stay out of jail, right? That's our point on Wednesday. Other than that, in the morning, and every market center is different, no judgment. We've just decided to really try to keep education and leave that sacred space for you guys to do lead gen. And most of our educational opportunities are in the afternoon. We drop this class as a region in the morning on purpose because it's a class about lead gen. So it's perfectly suited for this, right?
One of the things that is so great about Keller Williams is there's so much training, but just like Ignite, they all loop back around. So when you see these training opportunities come up, be choosy and selfish with your time. Don't do all of the training all of the time. Be selfish and give yourself the time to grow your business. And then when trainings come circling back another time, it might be a better, more appropriate time for you to take that training.
It's funny. Somebody said, you know, KW is an easy place to become a professional student. And I agree and I disagree, because most of our students are amateurs because they're still not getting paid. A professional gets paid, right? So the education, I have a lot of bad analogies. Here comes number 934. Our education at KW is like a Vegas buffet. It's always open. The food's always hot. You can always grab a plate when you need it. Absent that, sit down, call your humans. And if you hit a roadblock, if you have a challenge, reach out to your coach, reach out to your leadership for the script you heard that you forgot, whatever the tool is you think you might need. Other than that, be a human and connect with the other humans and make sure they understand that you're in real estate and you're here to serve, and it will start to show up for you.
Yep, absolutely.
Not
and you
more
know,
than that.
Absolutely. Success leaves clues. Top agents still do all of this. They build their database, they practice scripts, they lead generate, and they practice contracts all the time. So anybody have any questions? And here's another, you know, the 10-10, the 10-4, 10 contacts, 10 conversations, 10 handwritten notes, and 10 home previews per week. And I'll end there, except I have one more thing I really do need to say is that there is a do not call list. There's information on the do not call list on the KW Regional Ignite Facebook page. If you don't know how to figure out how to use the do not call list, please go to your leadership. The script for calling somebody that's on the do not call list is, I'm sorry, I will take you off my list. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So the TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, per violation, write this down and then throw up a little bit in your mouth and then write it down again. The per violation is $42,000. Now, the pushback you're going to hear from the humans in the real estate industry is, well, usually it's a class action lawsuit and it's not $42,000. They split it amongst everybody who made the offense. Let's go with 42 grand. If you've got 42 grand laying around to make a terrible phone call, I want to be your friend. You're taking me to lunch.
Absolutely.
Let's just follow that. And again, it's not a great place for a verbal arm wrestling match when Susan says to me, hey, Timmy, I'm on the do not call list. Even if you scrape the list and you know that Susan's not on the do not call list, because a lot of people added their first cell phone back in 1983 and they think they're still, all of their numbers are covered. It's not the case. And we're not here for a fight. We're here to move on. There's too many fish in the sea. There's too many people that you do know. There's too many Mets that you have that you could add new Mets through your Mets than to get a $42,000 violation by breaking that code. So to Susan's point, when somebody says they're on the list, I apologize, Mr. Lindsay. I'll update my notes. Have a great day. And moveon.org. Excellent.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I really am, I'm so grateful that you gave up your time to spend these few hours with us. And if you need anything, I am very easy to find on Facebook. And my email address is thekenyonteam@gmail.com. And I'm going to put that in here. And you can always reach out to me. I'm always happy to help.
Her name is Susan Kenyon. She's a rock star. If you're filling out the Survey Monkey, please don't misspell her name. If you didn't enjoy today's class, her name is Nathan Dickey. If you have complaints, it's Nathan Dickey. If you love the class, it's Susan Kenyon. We say that with love because we love Nathan. Yeah, we really appreciate your time. We'll be back for 14 and for 22. Be back here tomorrow. Do the heavy lift. Talk to your loved ones. Talk to the people that you know and love and trust. Add them to your command and just have 10 conversations. If you don't have 10, to Susan's point, and you only have 6, it's still a victory because I trust yesterday might have been a 0. And I say that with love. So just make some progress. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Call some humans today and make sure they understand you're here to serve, right? It's a long play. If you've ever read Simon Sinek's book, The Infinite Game is the name of the book. He's got 3 great books. The Infinite Game is about the long play. Are you here to build a legacy with your business, or are you here to be transactional and you'll be gone in a month? That's up to you. We appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Robert, for being here. Alana, our marketing person, was in here too, but she's clearly busy because she stayed off camera. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're so welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. What's the Market Center?
Thank you.
You're welcome.